Josh, are you hearing him? Oh, something sounds super weird.
Can you?
Oh, there. I got that.
Yeah. Kind of what do you call it?
Okay. So, now this is just me. Hi. You guys can probably hear me now. Am I in? I'm on Discord. I'm in the chat. There we go. Cool. Okay. Okay. It looks like the audio levels are good. I just had something disconnected, which was weird. So I've got a new power supply in my computer, and it hasn't crashed since yesterday. So fingers crossed. That's a good sign. All right. I'm gonna do a little post. Hey, there you are. Yeah, and my typing is destroying your mic. There we go. All right, I'm back. You were kind of quiet. I don't know if you can do something about that. I can. That sounds way better. It was probably from the typing then, yeah. All right. Oh, you don't? Oh, that's probably because I'm not piping you to YouTube. Hey, how about now? You should be hearing yourself now.
Let's see, can I?
You should even be about my level,
Yeah.
from what it looked
Good.
like.
Although my YouTube is behind, but
Oh, you know what? I'm hearing my echo in your audio, so it might also be trying to attenuate that, the echo. Anyway.
well, I will mute YouTube, and then you won't hear that.
Oh, that'll help too, yes. Definitely that. All right. Cool. Well, it is time. It is 5. Welcome to 2016. For anybody watching. Are you going to say something?
I was cheering.
You're cheering? Oh, okay.
I was the.
Because I was talking, it kept cutting you out.
Okay, it was supposed to be background noise anyway.
Right. Anyway, yeah. 2016. Say hi in the chat when you get there. And we might as well get started. This year, actually, wait, before I do get started, this is like one of our best years for having footage. I want not that one, I want this one. So 2016, shout out to Ed, who got us all of this footage from CMU TV, namely the full stream as well as the multi-view streams, which we then cut into heats and multi-view heats for all of the things. Like this is the kind of which we got for 2019. We could do that with 2019, but we didn't get it for day one for whatever reason. But yeah. So we can choose to switch it up later on if we want to, and watch some multi-view if people are into that. I got both chats open. I got the YouTube chat and I got the Discord chat. So I am following along. Brian, you have any thoughts on this year you want to share?
Give me 1 second. I am putting this in our YouTube story, in our Instagram story.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh, Dave says hi. What's up, Dave? How's it going?
hi, Dave.
Oh, I think we all did,
Oh,
Dave. We all spent way too much time on Ed's YouTube after 2016. This is even his playlist. Like, if the playlist is already there, we don't make a new one. We just record which one it is and reuse it. The low effort thing is real nice.
To answer your question of if I have things to say, yeah, I gotta say the multi-view thing is really cool.
Yeah.
It's sometimes a little hard to follow because you want to follow like the big screen, but everything's smaller.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and we may switch to it at some point. This is 2016. As a heads up, the roads were paved. The back hills, Fruit Street has been paved.
Yeah.
So
Terrible
you had
bounce in the shoot though.
yeah, well you had it was the stop sign to the chute in 2015 prior to race to 2015.
Should we get started by the way? Should I just hit go?
You can if you want.
All right, sure. Get this started.
Fruit Street, that's from the chute to the finish line, was 2016. The front hills were around 2010, I think, and
Yeah, that's right.
the start of the free roll was a little, I think, was the least recent. I think that was more like mid 2000s, unless there was something more recent that I'm forgetting.
I think there was one more recent than that.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
But basically, what I'm getting at is, in this particular year, the roads are in about as good a condition as you can possibly expect on a race day.
Yeah, the free
And that's
roll, the start of the free roll was definitely paved. Sorry, I'm talking over you, Brian.
no,
Was definitely paved after Hill 1 was repaved. Because they fixed the chasm that was the gap between Tech Street and Shenley.
fair enough. So make that 2011, 2012, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So the roads have all been paved. The entire course has been paved within the last 5, 6 years of this video. So pay attention as we now hit the women's heats to the Hill 3 pickups, where things are about to get very interesting. We've got some unique camera angles we're testing out.
Kyoko B-Days today. Birthday. Happy birthday, Kyoko. Kyoko
Happy birthday,
Inagawa.
Kyoko.
Driver for... she drove a few things, but mostly Avarice, right? Or was she Vice? Crap.
Here we go.
thought-
Here's the first pickup,
Yep.
and
Just
forget
gone.
it. Like nowhere anywhere near it.
SDC still running
Oh.
to catch up.
Like that buggy's gonna stop. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just.
Oh, we don't have the burn-in on these. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, he's trying to keep both in frame. It was not working.
But yeah, so this is didn't introduce this heat. This is SDCC with Bane in the back, CIAB with Icarus in the front. Icarus on those bright yellow wheels seems to be rolling pretty well.
Oh yeah, I mean this was the year after our last women's win, or I guess our first in many years. So they're
But correct me if I'm wrong. Those wheels all seem to be standard size.
I mean all of our wheels are approximately standard size.
False.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean we do have some big ones, yes, but like all of that size wheels are that size. Are the standard size. I can talk.
I did not know the fact that this race gets very, very close at the end, but this race gets very, very close at the end.
And as a matter of fact, Fringe B and Spirit B are extremely close also.
Hey, we got a Mike Darcy on the broadcast now.
Yes. So the broadcasters. This is the non-Bordic year. So for the women's heats,
Yeah.
we've got Will Weiner, Mike Darcy, Connor Hayes, and Mark Estes in the chute. This is Heat 2, women's Heat 2. This is Fringe B with Boson in lane 1. That would be their new build in 2016. Spirit B with Seraph in lane 2. And Signu A doing a great job of not showing up to the starting line in lane 3.
Oh, Signu.
But you know, going into this race, I don't think anyone really expected that Spirit B would be ahead of Fringe B. But they were going into the free roll, and that is not necessarily a good thing. 2016 was a rough calendar year for Spirit. There were a lot of free rolls in 2016. The weather seemed to not be much of a factor the entire year, so teams got tons of practice, and yet Spirit, at some point midway through the spring, they had a run of like every single weekend they had spun out at least twice. Different buggy, it was all combinations of buggies, drivers, whatever, but they couldn't get through a day cleanly. Finally, by the end of the semester, they did, but things kind of reverted back on race day, as you're about to see.
Some real tight turns there.
I think Spirit hit the hay bales.
Yeah, it looks like Spirit hit the hay bales there. Fringe B going to pass as it's coming up here.
So what you can't quite tell from this angle is that the Spirit buggy hit the hay bales, but bounced off and continued up the chute. The Hill 3 pusher saw the buggy lying there and ran down to pick it up and started the push before getting repeated. You can actually see her pushing here in the background before she gets yelled at by a lot of people to stop because the buggy made contact with the bales and needs to be cleared by EMS before they can do anything else.
Should go full screen. What am I doing? What am I doing?
You'd think that,
Ben, what are you doing?
I got distracted by text
People
messages.
are going real fast in the downhill, so it's hard to tell whether
I had a call just before this about a potential new project, so I was scrambling to be like, I gotta set up the stream, but listen to this. Only got about half of it, but we'll talk about it in more detail later.
And even Fringe being
By the way, if I shamelessly plug this to enough potential or future Tartans who are not yet students at CMU, if anyone's on, feel free to say hi in the chat and ask questions or anything. I assume most of the people on this will be Buggy people, but you never know. Maybe someone will have joined in which case we are happy to talk to you and explain everything that's going on.
In more detail than you could ever want
Spirit A
at this point.
trying to redeem things for their squad.
Very true.
Pretty powerful here on Hill.
Right here, that was a little.
Yeah, CMU's been
Fringe-
pushing a bunch of Turn Tartan and stuff for the new freshman class, those that have applied and accepted to be at CMU. So we hopped on the bandwagon and did a couple posts. So yeah, any incoming freshmen.
That's right. I'm not above shameless plugs on social media.
No, that's the exact point of social media is shameless plugs.
and they're 36 seconds going into
There's no shame on social media.
But SDC and Fringe nowhere near them in the free roll.
Oh, SDC's a little bit closer.
So this heat, we now have the names on the top. So you got Spirit A in the lead. That's Inviscid. SDC D is rolling Havoc, and Fringe D is rolling Balius. So Havoc, interesting story. Well, not much of a story because SDC refuses to say anything other than the names of their buggies ever. But apparently Havoc debuted with the first day of rolls in the fall, which you don't see very often. Supposedly, I don't know, it started being built the previous year, but didn't. I don't even know if that's true. But somehow it wasn't finished by the time race day rolled around. So this is its first race day, though technically, if you're looking at calendar years, it would be a 2015 build.
Right.
Wow, these
Yeah, I remember
guys are
that.
getting dusted. Nobody
And there is another very, very missed pickup.
SDC making up a lot of room through the chute.
And then in the back, and SDC takes that really wide line into Hill 3. Someone from SDC will have to explain that to me at some point.
They
As it
always,
seems to
take
me.
it quite wide.
They do, but it seems to me that when you do that, you're making the course longer. Maybe it's less steep over there, and that's why they do it? I don't know. I'd love for them to tell me, but
Saw
I know they
myself.
won't.
Oh, I don't have a beard. Crap.
as well.
I saw myself. I'll need to go.
Tight neck and neck. Spirit now transitions
Get
from
one.
4 to 5.
Spirits at a 2 for
Alright.
13 going
But-
into Hill 5. So if we
Let's turn off some
get
of
a
these things.
27 out of this, they'll be at about a 240. That'll put them in
So,
now.
the camera has now turned, but I don't know. The Spirit Hill 4 pusher was just kind of standing there for a while. And while I get that you can do that,
That's
think
their
we had
policy.
this
Yeah, we did a while ago.
In on the push bar.
Wow, she
Or,
Where-
on one of these actually. Yeah.
6'9".
yeah, you can stand there, but like, come on. At a certain point, like, the idea is once you're done pushing, get out of the road, and you're
Right.
allowed to stand there so that, you know, if you were there, fine.
I
But if another buggy is like 15 seconds behind you, you have plenty of time to get out of the way. You should not still be allowed to just stand there and make other buggies get around you.
well, whether you should or shouldn't isn't really the question right now. They are allowed to, so that is their policy. They'll basically stand there till the truck honks at them.
Whether it's the weather, whether it's that good Pittsburgh.
Yes, they are allowed to.
Yeah.
They just should.
Bring it up to sweepstakes. They're the ones who can do it. Just like the fraternity roster rules that everybody complains about, but none of the students ever care. It's only alumni that have cared about that I've ever heard from.
About standing in the one spot.
No. About how fraternities can't have non-brothers on their roster. So they have
Oh,
to
is
be,
that
like,
what they're
members. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I see CAAD pushing in suits in the back, or a suit jacket for their women's driver / mechanic seat. Apex B was supposed to be Phoenix. They did not come out. And CIAD, I didn't see who they were pushing. SIGAP A with Kraken. SIGAP, not a great race day. They had problems. They, as we will see, throughout the entire year, they basically had Kraken and Pandora as their only two buggies rolling. They got their new buggy Hydra out for the first time at Truck Weekend, but managed to get enough rolls to qualify. And that will come to be a problem later.
Excellent flagging technique.
But not yet. This appears to be the one heat that SIGAP didn't have problems, if I'm correct.
That's a good turn.
Very nice turn right there.
Dave Singh in the comments saying that if you read the history of Buggy series, you will note that I had said so Fringe D in that last heat. Sorry, because I totally forgot. Was DQ'd for loss of mass, but the actual loss of mass was not seen on the camera. So I wildly speculated in the 2016 History Buggy article that it was the front left fairing because from my video / photos, you can see the front left wheel, which you normally can't with a Fringe buggy. But according to Dave here, it was actually the rear hatch that flew off because the rear hatch appears to be missing, which was also very true, or very possible. I admit I did not see. But yeah, I will update that in the article.
Nice. I'm back. So Adam, real quick, what are you saying preach to? Which piece of it? Because I'm not sure how much of my slight ramble you heard.
I assumed that was about the fraternity people.
I know,
Unless
but in
it was
which direction? That's what I don't know.
Oh.
Because I was sort of mocking the alumni that complain about it when the students don't. Yeah, but which side?
I
We don't
gotta
want
say,
Durandos. Yeah, okay, yeah.
the like puffy-ish dress there, like it probably makes it easier to run, but I feel like the wind resistance is very high. Not the most not the easiest to push in.
You have much to learn about aerodynamics, my friend.
That's why I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah. And Adam, it's funny you say that you can't think of a single fraternity who wants randos on their team aside from Signu potentially. Signu is not the only alums that have said something about this. It's a lot of the. Actually, yeah, I have heard individuals. It's never been like a team, like an active team. It's always been individuals thing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Ed, I have the notes from that meeting. That like it came to be that just nobody cared. I just find it so funny that there are so many alums who still like try and fight the good fight, but then nobody cares. It's like talk to your own team first.
So as you can tell with 2016, CMU TV kind of getting the kinks worked out a little early. They missed the start of this race completely and were just showing the broadcasters.
Yep.
So you saw Will Weiner and Mike Darcy and Connor Hayes, I believe. I don't remember now who was there.
Yeah,
I
it
think
sounds
that
like
was
Connor.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make him a little louder.
You saw them watch the buggies come up the hill. But yeah, so this is SDC Bees Avarice and Fritzy's Beacon. Once again, you'll see, the standard when it comes to Hill 3 pickups in 2016, which is, and it's curious because, again, they had so many practice rolls. Like, teams had no issues practicing, and the roads were paved in May of 2015. So these roads were like this for an entire year. I don't know how you so badly judge where you're supposed to stand for these pickups.
Masky,
What's up?
can you hear me?
Yes.
What's up? Wait, go back to the fraternity thing. You were saying that you heard a bunch of rando alumni from fraternities who
Yeah.
want people on their team.
There are older Greek alumni who frequently talk about how easy the independents have it, and that they should open up the roster rules for fraternities so that they can
I
recruit independents now.
What fraternity were they in, and why is it Signu?
So it's I definitely heard it from a couple Signews, but I've also heard it from Pikes. I've also heard it from some Snigeps. I've heard it from, I mean, those are the main ones that stick out in my mind. Yeah.
Willie, who I think is the resident Pike who watches these.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that would represent a monumental shift in Pike's philosophy towards this.
Well, it's one of those things.
I can't think of a single Pike who would rather win with a bunch of GDIs than come in second with all Pikes.
Well, again, I think the vast majority of people are on the same page on that, but there are a few very, very vocal individuals who speak out against it and probably aren't speaking on behalf of their own team and their interests, because clearly they haven't talked to them in a while.
Yeah,
or at least tried to ask their opinion, be like, no, your opinion's wrong, sort of thing.
Yeah,
is my guess. No, I can't imagine that changing anytime soon, unless there was a shift in how fraternities worked. Or the culture.
Well, I mean, the meeting that I was in when I was an undergrad was about. I think it was like it added the rule where you needed 3 weeks to submit your rosters. You couldn't submit them like the day before race day or the day after truck or something.
Oh, the prelim rosters.
Yeah, and the theory was that the independent teams had it so easy because they were able to bring in ringers like a week before.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the middle of like a 7-year Pica winning streak, so it was a very strange, request. Remembering Willie's thing.
Yeah, I mean that is effectively making it more like how the frats have to do, because there's the initiation and all that stuff. Recruitment.
Willie, that's an interesting point that you raised, because I mean there was an interesting stat, and I think it was up until the 4th year that SDC won, where it was like if you were a normal Pike who went to Carnegie Mellon for all 4 years, you would have seen Pica win at least once. Any time any student existed between like 1955 and 2012 or something, whenever the last time was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Willie's heard the stat. Absolutely. Go for it, Brian.
Yeah.
No, I was busy writing a work email and completely missed what's going on, and I missed the entire introduction to Fish here.
Oh, that's right.
If you're listening to the broadcast, I mean, also, more terrible Hill 3 pickups. Just so many terrible Hill 3 pickups, and I just don't get it. AEPI with that really weird wide line. I don't know why they did that either. Yeah, so I don't know. You want to? All right, I will go into Fish. So CIAA here is a top team.
Yeah.
They won in 2015. This is Equinox. Fish A is rolling their buggy Cleona. There's a bit of a debate over how it's spelled, but most people have confirmed at this point.
There's not a debate.
Yeah. Yes, that's however Pike says it's spelled.
We talked to the actual guy who made the buggy. He told us the correct spelling. We also still make fun of him a little bit.
As I learned from the internet, that's actually the Anglicanized version of the original spelling of the name, which was Cliodhna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, spell check insight too. I mean, it's you get to spell it however you want.
Right.
True. But yeah, so the buggy's named Cleona. She's Queen of the Banshees, which I think is why they named it that, because the previous buggy was Banshee.
Makes a lot of sense.
I
did not think about that. Yeah.
So Fish. So Pica, brought out Cleona. Pica was doing everything okay. They were coming to rolls. They were excited. They had 3 buggies this year. This is going to be the first time with a C team in about 5 years. And assuming they were going to have a C team, I guess I can't say that for certain, but I'm pretty sure they were. And then they got into some trouble, and sometime around April Fool's Day, yeah, Willie confirming they had a C team. Sometime around April Fool's Day, they had an issue involving alcohol. It's a little unclear as to what happened or exactly why, but they got into some trouble, and then they went before the All Greek Community Standards Board, who decided to bump things up a notch. And among other things, I think they were prohibited from participating in Buggy for a year.
Yep.
Which is completely absurd, because it's like the most wholesome thing that you can do, but like more or less, like if you're looking for a way to keep fraternity guys out of trouble, it's keep them sober for like an entire semester prior to race day, and like have them work towards a common goal like that.
But yeah, so they were barred from participating in Buggy. This again was like the week before Truck Weekend, maybe 2 weeks before. No, I think it was a week before Truck Weekend. Yeah, week before Truck Weekend. So Pica went to Sweepstakes and said, "Hey, let us roll anyway." And Sweepstakes said, "Well, we don't want to get involved in this. This is a Greek issue." So Pica came up with a brilliant idea.
Hey, Brian, it's you.
At least maybe one brother was a member of what was known as the CMU Fishing Club, a legitimate organization, contrary to what some people think. It was founded around like 2012 for the purpose of fishing. And again, more Terrible Hill 3 pickups coming here. So they had at least one brother who was a member of a fishing club. So they said, "Hey, what if Fishing Club participates in Buggy?" So Sweepstakes said, as long as IFC says you're okay to do it, we are okay with you doing it. So there were a couple of stipulations. They were not allowed. So Fishing Club was allowed to race. They were not allowed to have more than half of their team be Pica brothers. So counting the driver, there are 6 members of a team.
Who like makes this shit up? Like, who is coming up with these rules? These are like such Byzantine rules.
I believe this was IFC coming up with that in order to get around the Greek Community Standards Board.
Yeah, that checks out.
I don't. And then, yeah, so they had that. They had to qualify the Buggies as if Fishing Club was a new team. The only thing was that it was backdated a week. So the week prior to the decision, the weekend prior to the decision, the rolls that they got on that day counted. What is now Fishing Club petitioned Sweepstakes to be there's a rule for those who don't know. You're not allowed to enter more than one new team a year, so for men's and women's. So a new team can only enter one men's team and one women's team. But Fishing Club petitioned Sweepstakes to get an exception to that. They put it up to the vote of the chairman. The chairman voted in favor of letting Fishing Club race more than one team. So they were planning either 2 or 3. I'm not sure which. But they, through some issues with Fishing Club preparing properly and some maybe bad driving at the very, very end of Truck Weekend, I think Banshee came up about 1 or 2 rolls short of qualifying. Something close. They got somehow close, but they couldn't get Banshee qualified. Raptor was further away from qualification, so Cleona was the only buggy that ended up qualified. So you have Fishing Club A women's team, which was exactly the same team as Pica would have had, and Fishing Club A men's team, which was 3 Pica brothers, 2 random fishermen, and the normal driver.
2 random anglers.
Yeah, 2 random anglers. There you go.
I gotta tell you, that's incredibly impressive that you remembered all that. That's a really good set of like knowledge arcana.
Any of this, I just wrote this article last week and got this information from people. I wasn't around then. I didn't know any of this back then.
The most salient memory I have of the Fishing Club was that I was able somehow to order a T-shirt, and I think it was Deepow who was making the T-shirts, and I paid my $40 or some serious price over Venmo, and I hit him up like 3 times, each with like 2 months in between, and didn't hear back. And I'm like, okay, well, I just sent $40 to Pika. Please enjoy like this tenth of a wheel. And then like a year later, I get a random package to my apartment that includes like a fishing club T-shirt in it, and I was amazed at the follow through, if not the punctuality.
Oh, that's awesome. Willie points out that the 2 non-Pika brothers on the Fishing Club A team that year were members of the CMU football team who became Pika brothers the following year.
Because when did Beta get kicked off?
2013.
God, I'm old.
That long ago.
Though that does bring up a good point. There is a shocking amount of overlap between the fishing club and the football team. I can't speak before Pika / fishing club got involved in Buggy. Again, it's a real organization. You can actually find their budgets online for some of those from 2011 to 2015. They actually won. They came in second in a Lake Erie tournament in 2010. But the big purchase came in 2015 when they spent $7,500 on a fishing boat.
Shaped like a fire truck.
That would have been great.
The Student Senate somehow approved that after the year before rejecting their request for a $6,000 boat because it was something like, this is crazy, we're not going to give you $6,000 for a boat. And then sure enough, the next year, $7,500, no problem. But they are like, I mean, I don't know how many people were actually in the fishing club, somewhere around 4 based on the numbers that they were proposing for these tournaments. But they did actually attend tournaments. They did some stuff. And whether fishing club existed for much after 2016, I can't say for sure, but I will note that this year, in October of 2019, CMU had an article on the athletics page about how a couple of the members of the football team now were kind of starting up the fishing club again and like turning it into a real thing.
Someone to race against kind of adds the adrenaline. It makes you put
Fishing is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this heat right here. We're starting in the men's prelims. So this was a very last-second decision of what would have been the first men's heat, where I think is SDC and Fringe found themselves too close together in times and were so worried about an overlap. And Sweeps agreed, of course. Like they saw it and they took the numbers and they're like, yeah, okay, this is going to be a problem. They just pulled SDCC out of the first heat and made them the first heat of the day and just added a heat just for them.
So I'm not gonna doubt what Ben said. Just a couple of clarifications. One, it was Spirit, not Fringe. It's
Okay.
Spirit B,
Yeah,
who you will see too. I mean, Fringe is also. I think it's Fringe D, but it was Spirit B was the actual issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's also. I have read places that neither SDC nor Spirit were actually worried about it. It was Sweepstakes mainly that was worried.
Okay. Well, I think this was one of the years where they were actually trying to take times and get some real data to work with, and I think the numbers just being close together during heat selection, they were worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but so this is Heat 1, and the next heat is technically Heat 2, but realistically, these two would have been combined, which is why you'll see in the next heat there is no lane 1.
Yeah, it's good. That's like sweepstakes job. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah. Err on the side of caution.
Sweepstakes this year was, who was it? Eddie?
Eddie was head judge. I think.
Chair. No?
This year was
2016.
Oh, this year of 2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling it up because I have this.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Edward
There you go.
was chair.
Okay.
Guo Chen was assistant chair, and Griffith Harbach was safety chair. I apologize if I butchered any of your names.
Guchen, yeah.
Well, you're close on that one.
Oh, that's right, Griffin.
Certainly
I forgot about Griffin.
Slowest winning time in a three-wheeler.
Who's Buggy Book Chair that you
Buggy's
did
upcoming.
you just say it?
Looks like
I
we're
just
starting
need
up
to
here
hear.
on the second heat. Lane 2 is
What'd you say? Who was Buggy Book Chair?
Yeah.
Spirit B.
I have to look that up.
Pretty strong right here.
Hold on.
Looking to get into that one.
But you're about to see in this heat, which is Spirit B's Zook.
He's caught up
I think it's Zook.
It is Zook.
Good strength right there.
Yeah, pretty sure it's Zook.
Pretty smooth shove into
That
It's
rude.
probably a good thing that SDC
28
got their own
seconds.
heat.
Fringe D 2 or 3 seconds behind them.
Oh, from the timing.
Got a nice tailwind going here.
The SDC team had 3 Alexes. That's really good. Because we had, in many years before this, I think it was 2010 or 2011, we had 4 Bens on A team. We were going to try and make it the Ben A team.
Course is a loop, right?
We couldn't find another 2 Bens.
Coming up on the stop sign, about a 56-second stop sign time.
But that's not this year, so.
SDCC earlier, coming on now, hitting that first shoot flag.
All right.
So as I said, Spirit was having an issue with every weekend, at least twice, they'd spin out. You'll notice there was only one today,
Going back in. Oh,
and here comes number 2.
into the bales.
Yep.
Stay off the road.
It looks like they'll put
All right.
I mean, she never stood a chance making it into that chute.
Didn't seem like it.
it's unfortunate.
Ed saying that Sega qualified their new buggy entirely on truck weekend. Is that true? Was Hydra made this year? Was she
Yes,
2016?
that is correct. Hydra debuted on the Saturday of Truck Weekend when it was sub-freezing, there was wet roads, most teams scratched, but Hydra was one of the buggies that needed rolls, so they threw some bags on and got it rolls. It was, cold, but not icy, at least.
And that's why
Oh,
there
is
was...
this
Go ahead.
is this Bolt with big wheels?
It does look that way, yeah.
This with... Is it big wheels?
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah,
it.
Dave says yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So because of the Hydra crash, that is why there's now a rule that all new buggies have to come out to at least 2 weekends of rolls, not just 2 days.
Which is insane that needs to be a rule.
Yes.
It's like go to buggy more than once before you strap somebody in a tube and shove them down a hill.
Agreed. Especially for new buggies. Currently, the rule is only for new buggies. I think. Maybe not.
I'll have to check that. I do want to point out, to answer your question before, Andrew Chang, Buggy Book Chair.
Andrew Chan. Okay.
16.
Absolute beast on Hill 1 for
I'm surprised I don't
SAE.
remember that. I can't place it.
So, Ben's comment there about Hydra's crash, that's a bit of a spoiler. That's not coming up yet. You
No,
will
it's
see
not.
that
That's true.
in a while.
Well, that was taken from Eddie in the chat. I guess the crash part about it he didn't mention. That's true.
Oh,
Nice shove there.
he held
Pretty
back
good
that push
heat
bar
curve
there for a
SAE,
second. That's
all
gonna
things
cost him a
considered.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that Brian Backus?
Yep. On the
Probably.
Hill 1, yeah, absolutely. I don't think they've ever had another Hill 1 like him.
But like, if
Some unusual
I forget what happened in this heat, but my hunch is that Apex gets pretty close.
It does look like that's going to happen, especially with them staying
Uh,
so wide.
your
Holy crap.
hunches- I mean, you're gonna be a little surprised. Only a little surprised.
55 stop sign time for SAE, about a 57.
Oh, I believe that SA's back hills are going to be really
Right,
fast.
coming through the upper
Absolutely.
transition, Apex about 8 buggy
I'm trying to gauge
wings
how
down.
much of a delay we
They are
have.
closing, but I think it'll
Seems to
be
be-
not so close
The
here.
SAE back hills are insane fast.
SAE,
Okay.
Apex
I mean,
goes
look.
This is further apart than I thought it was going to be.
both hugging
Yeah.
Lucy keeping it. Well, you gotta keep in mind, Ember is at this point not a great buggy.
Nice
That's true.
pickup,
At this
a little
point.
ahead of it.
Oh,
Nice pickup for Apex.
supposedly prior to its whole failure and when it first started, it was okay, and then when they fixed it, it kind of ruined it.
Oh, this is nice. This is the.
Ember was the one I couldn't name when somebody challenged me to name them all the other day.
That is correct.
Maybe 2 buggy lengths behind right here. Apex getting cheers from their
Yeah, I would say the
fans,
Apex
trying to
pushers
move
here
them to
are,
get in front of SAE.
pretty amazing.
SAE running for their lives. Apex trying to draw neck and neck.
I'm always shocked
It
at
looks
how
like
well
the Hill
Apex
5 transition
really quickly
gonna
got
be just
amazing
about
pushers.
simultaneous. It's about who has the better Hill 5, who wants it more. And
Not
Apex
not
has
quite
strong
Spirit
push
level,
on the
but
board.
No.
you know.
Can he catch up to the buggy?
But for
They got
being
up
only,
there.
but for being only, what, at this point, 6 years old, 8 years old?
Apex strikes me as like having a limited quantity of stat points in any given year, and they can either put it into technology or athletics or luck. And this year was athletics.
And they just respec
If it
every
was
year.
that walk, you kidding?
Yeah, they have to respec every year.
I like how their suits match the buggy.
Look at that suit jacket flapping the wind.
Yeah.
It's good to see Orca out again, too.
we could really push this analogy to its whole limit and say like 2018 when they set their record and put their like A pushers on their B team, intelligence was their dump stat.
We're off again.
I love Apex. I love you guys.
So this is Men's Heat 4. If you joined us on Virtual Race Day a couple weeks ago, you saw this heat. This is Sophie Halpern in Siget B's Hydra in lane 1.
Yeah.
Fringe B's new. So this is a battle of new buggies. In fact, this is a complete battle of new buggies, and there weren't that many in 2016. All three of these buggies brand new. You got Hydra in lane 1, Boson in lane 3, and Havoc in lane 2.
Actually, I think that was a
Oh, right.
fantastic shove by Hill.
It's hard to tell the green
Excellent technique by Fringe.
a lot of times.
See that right there,
Unfortunately, as we talked about, I mean, Hydra only had one weekend of rolls, and
right, now it's coming back
look,
around to the left. This would have been a
I don't know. Also, rolling on tiny wheels, which I don't think is something Sigep was used to.
I don't know how you can define used to. Ooh, that was quite the cut.
Yeah, so Sigep, I mean, Fringe is forced to like swerve repeatedly in this heat just to avoid making contact.
Right.
Both turning, Fringe taking the
But as you'll
inside
see
line.
here, makes a move.
They touch, but they're both through cleanly. They
I'm gonna
touch
go live on
again.
the Discord. I
They're
think there's a minor
grinding.
delay. I'm reacting to things ahead of time.
There. You see that coming up pretty low in Hill 3. SDC making up some space on there.
I mean, I also apparently fell behind on YouTube a tiny bit.
Some great pushers. This is looking to be another neck and neck one. SDCD also pretty close in there. Looks like Sig
And then I accidentally just pressed the wrong button and sent it back to before we started the video.
Whoops.
Couple buggy length separation from them right there.
I think it's an easy button to get back.
Um,
Yeah. The shoot is always a tough spot, Ed, for CMUTV. We don't have the best coverage down there, and it's because it's such a tight turn. It's really hard to have decent coverage, and we haven't really found a good solution long term that's been used. There have been a few
Can I
decent ones,
put,
but yeah.
like, I don't know if this is anything, but I feel like Hydra's wheels are lopsided. Like, can you go back a tiny bit, Ben? Just to like the start of Hill. And maybe it's just me. It could easily be just me. But like, if you look at those wheels, doesn't the buggy look like, I don't know, leaning to the left? Maybe it's just me.
I think that's the shadow.
It could be.
I think it's the shadow drawing your eye, because they are very far off the ground.
Maintaining their distance ahead. Getting a little bit of closure
It could be. You might be right.
Though, trying to crank it up behind, trying to catch up
Overhead cameras. So that was actually talked about this year for Hill 1 at least, having an overhead camera. The trick is looking up the hill is not nearly as interesting as you think it would be for a video.
It's really for King of the Hill times, right?
Yeah.
You could do like a sweet side-by-side comparison.
Oh, that would be awesome. Hell yeah. But as far as like getting better coverage, because we have pretty good coverage for Hill 1 at this point. Yeah, mostly for Hill 1. Does that make sense?
Especially if we bring back that camera angle from a couple of years ago with the side.
The at the start line?
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have that. That's become a normal one now.
I think they took the.
Yeah, but we don't use it most years, do we?
Whenever they were used it a ton last year.
Hold on. Can you go back to that Hill 1, the 1-2 transition for CIA there?
Yeah.
What is this?
What is what?
I don't know who this guy is. But what is this?
Oh, the one-handed? Yeah.
It's like
It's super ridiculous, but whatever. It would be nice if we had cameras on all the transitions so we get hill splits, assuming the cameras are appropriately synced. Yes, syncing is an issue. And yeah, I mean, for hill splits are a weird thing too, just like in terms of being hill splits. That's why we only count Hill 1, because the other hills have such an impact on each other, as well as like the rollout and everything else. So yeah.
Stop sign time at a 53 seconds.
Fantastic.
I didn't mention it in the last heat, by the way, but when Hydra and Boson collided, Fringe B was DQ'd for causing the interference there.
Oh, in the last heat.
FY.
Yeah.
Late in the turn, but a little little slide, but then she fixed it. Going through nicely. Hits the driveway.
I wonder, was this the last time Spirit ran a D team?
CIA.
I don't know why I'm
Ben.
generally asking that when I have the page open. Let me find out.
Ben,
What's
Ben,
up? What?
I have a CIA question.
A what question?
A CIA question?
Oh, okay. I thought you said CNA. I was very confused. Go ahead.
No, the Buggy organization
Yeah.
during the Buggy live stream that you were in.
Uh-huh.
So this Buggy has its push bar in a normal place. What was the Buggy that CIA built this year?
Kingfisher.
Kingfisher. Why is Kingfisher's push bar like the last inch of the shell? Like why does it essentially look like a chart of like Zoom's daily active users right now in profile?
Zoid. Is it a
What?
throwback? It looks like Bumpzoid, the fringe buggy from the early '80s. Is it a throwback? Is that what it's about?
It's not a throwback. So I mean, it's from what I've heard, it's just from data they've collected and simulations they've run.
See,
It's so weird. It's so weird, and it has
looks
like a
very
weird docking bay or something. It has like what's the deal with that?
It
It's
has
like
a
where
docking
shuttlecraft
bay.
land. Like what is going on there?
I don't know about the docking bay.
Probably
I've been
they-
watching a lot of quarantine Star Trek, so
Okay.
I just assumed it was they used the same mold as Aurora, and Aurora's back there because it's a dropping push bar.
why would the mold matter for push bar placement? Why don't you just put it wherever you want it to go?
You never know. Just saying. So I do want an answer, and if Ben knows, he should tell us. But I do want to quickly point out in this heat, Fish A, you'll notice, is in lane 3 and going into the lead, going into the free roll ahead of SDCB's Avarice. The reason they're in lane 3, obviously, is because again they were treated as a new organization,
Yes.
and therefore heat selection they were put at the end of the list. So even though Pika would have been in lane 1 in a later heat, Fish didn't get that option. So they had to find themselves in lane 3, going up against a team that they probably shouldn't have gone up against, although it turns out Cleona was a decent buggy and is managing to...
Cleona's a very decent buggy, yeah.
Heading towards the shoot flag.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what's your question? What's the thing
Oh,
that you
but-
think I would know?
SDC took a very aggressive early, then shed a ton of
Avarice
speed. Not a
nearly
sprint, but
goes into the bales, but somehow avoids
I
it,
expect Spirit to catch them here on Hill 3.
but loses basically all speed
What am I
at
missing
that
here?
point. Okay, anyway, sorry, I cut you off, Ben. Go ahead.
No. I'm trying to figure out what you were wondering that I might know offhand.
The reason for the push bar.
Oh. Sorry. Okay. I thought the second comment. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I think I said it was from their data collection and analysis that they've done. They claim it's better, and it's their buggy. So I didn't.
I am so curious as to like. I think one like kind of fascinating thing about if you look at like the guts of any given team is like the tropes that they hold to be like gospel. Like KDR doesn't let go of the push bar, right? That's like ridiculous usually, but you know for us it worked.
I forgot about
and
that. That's right.
Bad move.
like
Okay.
like every team has like their shtick, right?
Yeah.
And like I am very curious to see what data supports putting a push bar at the very end of the buggy.
Ben, can you rewind the push bar there?
The push bar. I can rewind the push bar. Sure.
Yeah. So if I understood correctly from a comment on social media, I
No,
believe the
Dave.
Hill 5
No data and no analysis made Aurora. Putting that out there.
I believe the Hill 5 pusher for Fish Club is Rory Hubbard, who was the backup running back for CMU. But that means he's not a Pika brother and probably wasn't preparing prior to like 2 weeks before. So it's not much of a surprise, I guess, that he would have missed the push bar. Willie, correct me if I'm wrong there. Okay, I'm wrong there. That was Tom. Okay, I don't know who that is. I don't know the first guy. Rory was day 2. Oh, so Rory rolled in the exhibition heat that they ran. Okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, because he was Pika and wasn't allowed to push on day 1. Is that right? Okay. Willie explaining the missed push bar there. Thomas Preet. I don't know if that's how to pronounce his name. Sorry if it's not.
Pretty much textbook.
He pulled his hamstring a week and a half before race day. Said he was fine, but then he re-pulled it during that Hill 5 push, and
sucks.
that's why he couldn't catch up.
That's rough.
But that push bar DQ marked the second year in a row that a team involving pikes was DQ for push bar DQ.
So it's a wide net you're casting there. A team involving pikes. I'm cracking up at Dia's thing where it's like when, and Ben, you did the same thing where it's like, oh, they ran many simulations. That's like the same inflection as the end of the first Indiana Jones movie where it's like, what'd you do with the Ark of the Covenant? Like, oh, we have top men working on it.
Right.
That shit's made up. It's like 100% made up. Like we ran simulations, which is to say like
I'm
some
telling you what
CIA.
they told me. In as much detail as I would like to, but also it's one of those things where it's like I'm trying not to be super oppressive of ideas they have, and I'm not a student. I haven't been one for 10 years, so...
No, if you're an alumnus, it is your duty to tool on active teams.
Yeah. After I'm done being president, I'll get back into that.
Okay.
Or
right.
not, I'm done with being president, being done other stuff.
Say.
Yeah.
News. Your term is
I'm
up.
not president, just the workload.
I do want to quickly. Dia says she got the women's D team DQ'd, and I'd love to know why. What did you do? So this was the back hatch. Was this the loss of mass DQ? I'm not 100% sure, but I would love for you to either come on and tell us your story, or feel free to type it, and I will read it out. But I'd love to know. What?
Did he leap into it? It didn't look like too much of a leap. Although they do have a habit of doing that. Spirit in general.
Hey y'all, I'm here to tell the story.
Yeah, welcome. By the way, Willie, get your butt in here.
Yeah, Willie, honestly, you super need to get on this.
I told Willie last week he should be commentating.
Yeah.
Dia,
Okay,
are you disappointed that as soon as you joined, we were like, oh yeah, but Willie though?
No, because I told Willie he should be commentating right now too, so I can't even blame him. But the story of Fringe Women's D was the first heat I ever saw as a freshman. I was pushing Hill 1, and for some reason I was also in charge of putting on our wheels. And that went really, really well, as you could tell. I forgot to tape down the back hatch, and we lost it in the free roll. And I was like a little freshman, and I was mortified. I was like, I got an entire team DQ. I'm the worst mechanic ever. Lena was like, chill. We haven't had a women's D finished in a couple of years.
It's also I mean, I assume your D team was your mechanics team at that point.
Yeah, it was me on hill 1, Lena on 2, and I don't remember the back hill.
Yeah,
sounds like an Abbott and Costello routine.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Discord has multi-view video now. Sorry, I just noticed something. Go ahead.
Thing is writing another story about Fringe. I think.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, you want to tell this story too, because I don't.
Yeah.
Friends coming down to the trench. Turn in. Nicely done. Taking a very inside line by CIA.
I'm not hearing anybody if anybody's talking.
Though. They both are through cleanly.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Are you talking?
Oh, do you guys hear me?
Now we do, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so we're watching Fringe A right now. Our men's 8-1 went MIA.
Disappeared again.
Yep.
Dia, if you're gonna join the live stream, you gotta be good at it.
Hey, this is Willie. Am I in?
Yeah, you are.
Oh yes, awesome.
There we go.
What's up, man?
How we doing?
Are you reporting from like a cathedral or a concert hall or?
No, I'm in a very empty echoey room though. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Dave, you please tell the story because my phone's bugging right now.
Wait, is that Dave or is that Willie?
Well, Dave,
This is Willie.
Yeah.
Dave's on the
Okay,
chat.
cool.
Dave, get in here.
Oh, yeah, Dave, get in here and tell the story.
Yeah, what year was Dave for this year? In 2016.
Dave, Willie, and I are the same year.
Oh, are you guys? Oh, no kidding.
212, Mike.
Did not realize that.
CIA B. with about a 215 or so.
Hey,
Very
we
nice
had
out
a
of them.
fucking awesome
And
B
Fido
team that
A
year.
coming through here.
He did already.
230. That's pretty nice showing for them. Yeah, 226.
Jay Gerber was Hill 1. We couldn't find him for like 10 minutes before the race. We were freaking out. Turns out he was praying. Real wholesome.
Is this real Perrin or fake Perrin? Is this real Perrin?
In what, the heat right now?
This is real Perrin.
No, I'm sorry, the fight out one.
Oh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's Isaiah Edmonds on one who switched from Spirit the year before. That was pretty wild, I think, because he was Spirit A and then switched over to SIGUP A the next year. A bit of drama.
Wait, can you go back to that transition? Because that's insane.
The Hill 1-2?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. He was on Spirit, and then he switched to SIGUP. The theory was that a SIGUP Buggy might give him better odds to win King of the Hill. Didn't end up happening. But.
Yeah, he was fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you win King of the Hill if your buggy does not get a valid time?
I think so.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah, as long as you have a valid hill one time.
Right.
That's fair. This was the start of SIGEP's really bad. It's a rough race day for them. They made it through women's cleanly, minus a bump, but it turns out using ceramic bearings is not always what it's cracked up to be. No pun intended.
Yeah, I had this conversation.
I love how that's a trope now. It's like if you're even remotely into Buggy, you've definitely heard one of the 12 of us say that that's a bad idea, and then every year it just occurs again.
The wheel.
Somebody thinks they figured it out.
Especially weird because this happened to them in 2015 during finals to Barracuda. They're
hopefully the other drivers are able to go around.
Fell apart.
Yep.
This happened again.
Yep. There goes the wheel back down. If you missed it, almost.
I don't think that was. Wait, can you rewind? Because so I know what you're talking about, and I had a note about that too. But I don't think that's the wheel. I think that's something else.
Oh, it seems very likely that that's a wheel.
But from where?
From SIGUP.
No, wait. Go back to when SIGUP.
All right. Here we go.
Because you'll see where it goes, and it's not. Like the wheel's going off.
It's curving up the hill. So there's more street over here. It goes up the hill, up the sidewalk, bounces off the curb, and comes back around.
Hopefully the other drivers are able to go around.
There it goes.
Wow.
That is absolutely the wheel.
Oh, that's. Admittedly, I saw that on the video, and I'm like, that's the wheel. But then I wrote that off because the wheel went the other direction at first. I didn't think that. Oh yeah, it hit the curb, went up the street 50 yards.
Yeah. Well, so where it hit there was the ramp for whatever Robert's Drive or whatever that is there. So I don't think it actually hit the curb. It just goes up onto the sidewalk to finish its curve or something like that. Or all it needs is the entryway.
This is awesome.
Skips the curve, but yeah.
This was a really good heat.
It was surprisingly good. We were not expecting it to be this good. That was a long four.
Apex had a couple years in there where it was like had some really exciting races.
Yeah.
They're an extremely fun team to be a fan of.
Absolutely. Well, they're still like getting their bearings as a team. Like they're still working their way up the list, and I mean they're still moving.
We've got a shout out to CAC in the chat. But where's the pusher?
Did he fall?
Hey, go back. Go back.
I think he was. Oops. He was blocked by the top bar burn. Upper third, I guess. Yeah, right down. He enters but does not exit the banner.
Is he alright?
First of the banner.
Yeah, he tripped. Oh, Reed, you were Hill 1 on that one. Nice. That's awesome. That explains the cheering. So the bad news for SIGUP there is they didn't finish. The good news is Hydra did manage. I mean, they would have made it to Saturday with a reroll either way, but their B team had a fast enough time to make it to day 2, which I guess is both good and bad, as you'll see coming up in the men's final.
Hydra did not have a great day.
He loves the ground.
Oh, forgot to mention, this is the final men seed of the day. This is SDCA with who will put up a time that I certainly didn't think would be possible.
So much distance between them.
But they would go on to destroy the course record here.
50 at the stop sign.
As much as
This
you can
is
destroy a course record that was already 203.2.
this is the year after the roads were paved.
Yeah, they paved the chute finally this year and the back hills.
Can you
And
guys
as-
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. My connection was really crap before.
Oh, that sucks.
Fishtail, but there they go.
There was a request to turn up Mike's commentary on Hill 5.
As a commenter, someone going by the name of SDC put in the 2016 story, Annie Black is the fastest color.
That's fantastic.
That's pretty funny, actually.
That's really good.
I cannot get over this Hill 4, by the way. Like, this is Brian Korres, who's CMU's all-time sack leader, and also played for the DC Defenders in the XFL this year. I think, as far as I know, the first ever professional football player to push a buggy. That was Hill 4, and it was one shot, and he was done.
2 minutes.
Oh my!
2:02.5.
He was a big dude. He was on SDCB on Hill 1 2 years ago, so in 2014, and then he was injured for all of 2015, which, for being honest, made Raceday a little closer than I otherwise would have been.
This is crazy.
Oh,
He was injured for the whole year. Wow.
Well, I don't know about the whole year, but he was definitely not
injured.
ready to push.
So
He was still walking around on. Well, actually, I don't remember the
he
exact
had-
details, but he was
He
definitely
had
not.
knee problems because so what happened was after high school he played 2 years of junior league hockey and ended up having a lot of knee problems that kept him out of hockey. So he decided he would go get an engineering degree and play football at Carnegie Mellon at the same time. Then that year he'd ended up tweaked something else in his knee. Decided he would take it easy for the spring semester to get ready for his senior season. And then when football was over, he was already training for his pro and everything and came back and did Buggy again and just was insane.
Damn.
Wow.
That is the most scary person I've ever seen on a football field.
That's awesome. So they did some Saturday rerolls, or some not Saturday. They did Friday rerolls for this year, 2016.
Yeah, these are Friday rerolls are technically not in the bylaws,
Yeah.
but yeah, they exist for whatever reason when the day is nice enough.
Do you guys think that Hill 1 is the hill? I mean, obviously it's like the glory hill, but you know, when you talk about King of the Hill and you talk about the most athletic person in race day for whatever reason, I think Hill 1 is a very bad proxy for that.
So I agree that it's a bad proxy for the most athletic person. However, it is the only one that you can measure on the sole merit of the pusher.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, you're right.
Which is the only reason that I can come up with that it's the only hill that's measured.
McHugh, we have a
Yeah.
request from Jeremy. Friday
Yeah.
rerolls with rank DQ. Pick a favorite fake rule.
Right,
boy.
This is total knows how to push my buttons. Friday rerolls are good, and rank DQ is a war crime.
Yeah,
I would say in general, for in terms of like King of the Hill and Queen of the Hill, though, generally some of the most athletic people end up on Hill 1, is what I've empirically observed.
So
Who
the
just
people
said that?
getting into the free roll, getting into the free roll first. A lot of people prefer that performance to having a better.
Wait, sorry. Shafiq asked why not make Friday rerolls a real thing, and I think that there is like a small discussion here where Friday rerolls would necessarily happen at the end of every other roll, which is the best place to possibly be to have your heat. So you don't really want to incentivize anybody to have a Friday reroll. Like, I think teams that just like do badly during prelims are suddenly granted like the choicest heat. I don't think that's a good idea, and that's not something you want to incentivize. I also don't think that very many teams are going to want to do that, but that's the reason if I had to make one up. It's not the best place if your pushers are tired. Yeah.
The flip side to that is, if you do the rerolls on Friday, you don't like if a team puts up like a 250 time, you don't make day 2. Whereas if you re-roll on Saturday, like if you go back to 2010, and if AE Pi had gotten a re-roll that took place on Saturday, and they put up a time of 3:15 with their men's A team, they could have ended up with a trophy. Because technically the Saturday re-rolls is a final time, and in 2010 only 5 teams had final times.
That's
So
a
only
good point,
trophies.
too.
Like,
But Tuttle's right. If you think that Saturday is going to get rained out, it might make sense, and I think that that's a fine rule to bend.
Oh yeah. I agree. I think it's a fine rule to bend.
Yep.
Although I think if in a year like 2016 where there was no risk of rain coming Saturday, I question having a reroll on Friday. Or like we talked about last week, if you've given one of the teams in a heat a reroll on Friday, I think it's ridiculous that the other team in that heat gets to reroll on Saturday.
And into the push, it looks like
all or none. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think having the like for teams that didn't have the opportunity to finish a roll, maybe it would be okay to do the Friday reroll. So like if they stop behind a crash, but not if they were one of the ones that crashed, sort of thing, right?
This is just a fun
The real thing they should do is Friday exhibitions, because I do not want to get up and be sober for an exhibition on Saturday morning.
Well, good
we
news.
were set to do those this year. Yeah.
And speaking of which, the heat you're watching right now is an alumni grudge match between Pika and Signu that took place on Friday between women's and men's. So this is actually a Friday exhibition. Also, 2 different flaggers just flagged the Pika Buggy there, and I don't.
Awesome.
That didn't make any sense.
With that,
a little bit of a tail bob, but
That's weird.
You have teams.
Also, I like the green in Cleona. The buggy has gotten progressively less green over time. When it debuted, it was like all green with black stripes. Here, it's mostly black with some green showing, and present day, it's fully black with 1 green stripe.
That would be a David Power special. He thought the black with green was so cool, and no one else thought the black with green was cool.
That sounds about right.
And so as soon
do
as he
it the
graduated,
night before design
Yep.
comp, and you guys showed up and were like, "What the hell?"
Yes. No, he put on that racing stripe the day before, and nobody knew he was doing that. And it was ridiculous.
That's amazing.
So,
That's
I really hope that David's on here and will text me to try to justify his actions.
There's a strange correlation between the less matte black a Pika Buggy gets and the slower it gets. Like the more they go towards like plain unadorned spray paint in a can, the faster it is.
Although Cleona was one of their fastest in recent years.
Didn't it get? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm making this up. But didn't it get faster as they like removed the green?
Oh yeah, because
I think it's more of just how much effort we put into making it look good. So a lot of the time, if you have a chair that really wants to make the buggy look good, they probably are bad at other things, where our best chairs don't care about how the buggy looks at all and just wants to go fast.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite part about Pika, especially like early 2000s Pika, is that there's a material advantage to making the buggy matte black and nothing else, because you don't spend time on it because it's not important, right? Stopwatch doesn't care how nice your racing stripe is,
right?
And black is, for as much as it's a trope, black is the fastest color.
So I first of all, I just want to quickly say that I do love. I actually love the black and green combo. It's one of my favorite color combos out there. I do want to point out though, this heat is the first exhibition heat on Saturday. It's Spirit versus Spirit. You'd think as an organization you would know which of your 2 buggies was faster and put the faster pushers on that buggy.
For an exhibition.
I don't understand. Clearly, Fuko is in the lead. Seraph is behind. But Seraph is the faster buggy. Why wouldn't you put your faster exhibition pushers on Seraph? Because as a result, you're going to get what we're about to see, which should never happen in an exhibition when it's 2 buggies from the same team.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't happen in an exhibition in the first place, especially, yes.
Trailing Buggy definitely taking a
Like,
narrow
how does this
position.
happen?
Both
How do you get a
sides
shoot
a little
pass in an
twitchy, but
exhibition
yeah, through
when it's
clean
Spirit
Wow.
versus
Buggy.
Spirit?
Heading up the hill 3.
The driver
Anyway.
for Fuko
I
was
mean, at least
leaving
it was
in.
clean.
Roll out on the green one.
Says you can't
It
get
was
some
clean,
momentum
that's true.
from the exhibitions.
Absolutely. Like, it was a great pass. I'm just saying, why even chance it?
To be fair, these are alumni, so I can't imagine they know who would be faster up hill 1. But whoever is in the second buggy should absolutely not have passed there.
Hey, as the person who put together the Fringe versus Fringe exhibition heat for Fringe 50, we knew which of our alumni were faster.
I'm sorry, we can't all be Fringe, dear.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
Willie.
you're not Spirit either.
I also like even if you don't know specifically, like, oh, this person can do like an 18-second hill 1, this person is 22. Like, if you get to it and it's like, well, this person was an 18 pusher back in the day and he graduated 3 years ago, and this person was a B team pusher who graduated 25 years ago. And I'm not saying that's what Spirit did here. I have no idea who the pushers were.
But it also makes sense to intentionally do that and stack them so that it won't be close up hill 1. That's a good point.
Probably a pretty big.
So this second exhibition, which is now Pika. This is no longer. I mean, they're wearing fish shirts, but I guess technically these are Pika pushers now.
Yep.
I don't think the rule applied to exhibitions though.
No,
This is still the same team.
Well, because
It is,
Just they wanted to
so
get a
these-
finals time, basically.
Yep. So 1, 2 is
They submitted
Pika, then I
them
think the
later.
whole back hills are football that aren't pikes.
Okay.
So I have a question, Brian and or Ben. What order are we watching these in? Are these in order? Because I feel like we just jumped from mid Friday to Saturday.
No, we have finished Friday's races. This is Saturday. We jumped from mid Friday because the alumni grudge match heat was Friday, but the rest of the exhibition was Saturday morning. So
Got it.
that one exhibition is in the exhibition playlist, technically Friday. We are now the second heat of Saturday morning.
So did I miss the conversation about that Fringe B Siget B race and the aftermath? Because the aftermath was the interesting one.
I
Yeah,
don't think we
that was a
covered
pretty
that.
heated sweepstakes.
Anyone who was there remembers that chairman's meeting.
It was almost as heated as the Spirit STC one the year before, which I don't think anybody else was there for besides maybe Ben.
I'm sure. Well, I don't know if I was there actually. There are a
If you
couple
would
that I
like
missed.
if you would like to share the story, I think now is a good time because no one cares about exhibitions. But before you do that, Ben, I do want you to rewind because Spirit actually spins in this exhibition, but it's only in the picture-in-picture mirror
I mean
window.
that's what we're on right now. Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me
Yeah.
go back to here. I mean, I will
Yeah.
say that the CIA heat has a really awesome Hill 4 to 5 push off.
So watch the
Wait, you guys. Dia was about to tell a story. Dia, I have a fever,
No,
and
I
the only
can wait
prescription
because
is
this
more
seems like
tea.
it's an interesting heat.
Oh, okay.
For exhibitions,
Well,
absolutely. I mean, Spirit doesn't really
yeah, the
spin there; they just sort of go nose in.
Yeah, it's hard to see because
It is.
because again it's in the picture-in-picture window. But they
Blend down
again,
Yeah, so up
this
here.
was
So that's CIA
this was
coming
Zoom.
in.
And, yeah, no chance.
And then here's Spirit way up there. I guess they do spin around, but then end nose in. Because they lose a lot of speed going into that. Oh no, they are back in. Never mind. They did spin around.
Buggy that crashed yesterday, and it looks like it did pretty much
Okay,
the
so now Dia, go ahead and tell us the Fringe Sigep story.
Oh boy. Okay, so it was especially heartbreaking for Fringe because that was our new buggy, and because of that DQ, we didn't make it to second day, and we didn't really understand the nuances of the design comp qualification rules. So we had gone through that entire Friday after races, thinking that meant our buggy was disqualified from design comp. And so that's why we fought a little harder than maybe we should have during that chairman's meeting. The SIGAP driver, Sophie Halpern, was also a social member of Fringe, which made things even more interesting. There was a whole
Why were you not disqualified from design comp?
Because the rules say that you have to have a second day qualifying time. As long as the buggy doesn't DQ or did not finish due to mechanical failure, it still is qualified for design comp.
Getting set to get started with Raceday Finals 2016.
So
I'm sorry, you ended up not getting DQ'd, so it was good.
We were not so we won design comp that year.
It looks like Fringe
Yeah.
But we had gone through the entirety of Friday thinking we were DQ'd. Hannah Linus, who was design comp chair that year, came to us Saturday morning during exhibitions, and that was like the most relief I have ever seen on the face of Lynna Griffin. It was quite a moment because we had literally gone down to the shop to smash shit after that chairman's meeting. We had grabbed a bunch of rods and just started smashing things.
Oh man,
this is a recurring theme in these stories.
They need
Which was the year that Fringe lost to CIA?
So that was actually my sophomore year. So that was 2017, and technically what happened was Fringe actually lost to Fringe lost to Spirit. So Fringe had gotten second with Blue Shift, and Spirit had gotten first with Invisid. But it turns out there was a mistake, and we found out after awards. I ran into Hannah on Beeler, and she was like, "Wait, guys, you won design comp. Invisid didn't make second day." So that was the only year in recent history that we.
No, it's not. There was that year that CIA won.
That would have been before my time.
Ben, which year did CIA win?
We've won a few years. So we won 2011, 2013.
Bolius? 2015?
And then I think we won 2014, 2015.
And talking real quick back
I
to
think
2015 was the last time.
Equinox won.
There were a couple of potholes last year.
Well, Equinox won. I guess it was built in 2015, right?
Yeah. For the free roll, if you get a pothole,
There were like I think 3 CIA. CIA had a run of a couple of years in a row.
Sweepstakes chairman?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Shout out to him though. A ton of work had to put in this.
That was Eddie on Hill 4.
Oh, there you go. 3 years in a row. 2013, 14, 15. Ascension, Icarus, Equinox. That's
that's right.
That's a solid run for CIA.
That being said,
yeah.
Read in the chat.
2017 was the year that Spirit was announced as winning, but didn't actually.
Coordinating with City of Pittsburgh, coordinating
Brutal.
with City of Pittsburgh.
It was actually really tragic.
Pittsburgh Police.
We felt really bad, as much as we could.
So I do want to point out here, this is Valius, and I believe the back hatch is taped down for this exhibition heat.
Because I wasn't supposed to do it. To be fair, I don't remember who it was, but whoever decided that I was supposed to tape down the back hatch and put on the wheels and then go out and push a hill 1, that was a little bit on them too.
Yeah, that's not the smartest plan.
We're off here in the final exhibition.
But also, if it's for a D team,
So this...
We don't talk about mouth guards, Lily.
This is the last of the exhibition heats. SIGEP in lane 1, pushing Kraken. This is actually the SIGEP B team, because their men's B team qualified for day 2, but because the A team didn't, because Kraken lost a wheel, the A team, the B team, the B pushers were replaced with the A team pushers. So SIGEP gave the B team a chance to push the A team Buggy in an exhibition. Confusing. Turns out this team has a better time than SIGEP B does in the men's finals, though that may be for a different reason.
Connor's come a long way. I remember meeting him back in 2012 when he's like, "Hey, I think we want to start a Buggy organization," and then all of a sudden, now look at Apex being one of the.
Also, McHugh, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the paint job to Perrin here. Like, I know initially, wasn't it that there was some stipulation when Delta Force took over the Buggy about repainting it, and then I guess that didn't apply to Fidel?
That's why I asked earlier if this was the original Perrin or fake Perrin. But I think Perrin has a little bit more lore to it than it necessarily deserves or is true. Like, to my knowledge, there were no stipulations on any part of our lending of Perrin, and nobody cared. Knock yourself out. Yeah, push bar was like a normal push bar. It wasn't like handcrafted by like Hattori Hanzo in Australia, which is one that I get a lot. And I think you can do whatever you want to do to Perrin. I don't even know where it is right now.
it was also a fully plastic job. So in theory, you could peel it off and retain the original white color.
Yeah.
So McHugh, which is your favorite of the Perrin paint jobs over the years?
The eggshell one, I think.
Really? That's so
The
boring.
OG eggshell.
Yeah, solid
Yeah,
time.
I like it.
A little bit better than yesterday.
I actually kind of like this one that
But with that,
Hideout has. Although it's sometimes, admittedly, it's hard for me to tell the difference between this and Hydra from time to time.
It's a good way to end, partially end.
It's funny because in my head, Perrin is not. If I was to rank KDR buggies in terms of durability, Perrin would not be at the top of the list, and it has easily seen more race days than any buggy I've worked on like put together.
I'm guessing.
Perrin like larger than most of the other KDR buggies. I think that was.
It was a little wide. Yeah.
I remember when I emailed you to try and get a buggy for Fido. And then I think you'd offered me Perrin or Powder, and then you'd mentioned that Powder was smaller. And then
oh, so do we want to do any of these multi-view?
Easier to fit somebody inside.
I mean, Powder's not particularly small either. Powder's heavy. There's a lot of epoxy going on in Powder.
I was going to guess that Powder was the most durable of the buggies. Am I wrong?
No, Powder definitely was. If Powder faced one of those things, what are they called? The gates that basically Powder's going to win in any collision with anything, essentially. So what happened when Powder was being built is they didn't really, like, Powder was the first real monocoque buggy that they had attempted, and they screwed up the way the resin filled up. So it has a Nomex core, and most of the Nomex is filled with resin. So Powder's like 42 pounds, I think, like without wheels. And you can hit it with a hammer if you want. And it also has like a gel coat on it. I don't know. It's insane. But Powder will be the last thing that an alien, civilization finds on Earth. It will exist until the end of time. Perrin is not like that, and Perrin actually is a little bit. I'm not going to say flimsy is like the wrong word, but it's a little bendy in places where it shouldn't be. And I'm surprised that it lasted so long.
And McHugh, to your point about not knowing where Perrin is, we don't know either because we were actually looking for it this year to try and get it as a loaner buggy. But I don't remember what happened. I think we just couldn't locate it.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Fido sort of scrapped Perrin. I think they took the brakes and steering or something from Perrin and put it into Argo, something along those lines.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You know what? We were looking for Perrin. We couldn't find it. And then I went to the Fido house to help them get Argo fixed up before Rolls this year. And they were like, they had another buggy there. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, oh, that's Perrin. Or they didn't know what the name of it was. They were like, it's some KDR buggy. We just took all its steering. I remember that now.
It's not even the best part. The push bar is the best part. You should take that.
So before I get going on finals, are there any of these we want to do with multi-view? So I'm going to play through these, but think of some that you want to watch in multi-view, and we can go and rewatch things since this was so far really quick. Like we've only been going a little
while. The Fringe B, SIG B on day one is probably the only one where multi-view definitely enhances the experience in that you can actually see the double collision. But I can't.
Sounds like a good plan.
It might be cool to watch SCCA's day one time versus day two time. I don't know if we have that.
We wouldn't have it side by side, but we could play them back to back.
In previous years, I would agree, but Spirit's really rolling.
Oh, you're talking multi.
Yeah. They're going to stay in first.
Yeah.
I mean, I do guess that I have all the ones from the broadcast or from the virtual race day. We could play those.
Great push for Spirit.
I don't think we split screen the two 2016 races.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do those two.
Which is a drawback for when you're a Hill 2 pusher. I remember when I pushed Hill 2, you're
fill your Nomex with bees.
Or do you want to slow it down just
and Dave has an interesting story while we're talking about SIGAP's issues this year. I remember this on Bale's watch Friday night. Dave came and told us the next day that he had seen a bunch of SIGAP alum just like messing around with the buggy and the chute several hours before the actual accident happened.
How fast you can go at the bottom.
You see a lot of interesting things on Bale's watch.
Yeah, you do. You've gotten the story of why those exist, right?
Oh, of course. And I've
Yeah.
had to fight a drunk person to keep them from taking a bail once. So
Yeah, that was a wild thing to call the sweepstakes chair about and Casey about when that happened. We're still trying to figure out where it came from, but we think the concert.
Wait, Ben,
Yeah.
can you rewind here to like the start of the roll up to Hill 3?
Sure.
Because I have a question for the group, and that question is: does the SDCC pusher think Spirit's buggy is hers? SDC is on the right.
That's what I was just about
Yep.
to say. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh crap, wrong buggy," and quickly tries to get over, but she's too far up the hill.
Spirit A had a fantastic pickup. She didn't lose any momentum.
I feel pretty confident she thought Inviscid was hers.
Almost near perfect.
It does seem that way.
And she had an absolutely great
she just
rollout.
wasn't
That
used to
push
being
not
behind.
The best one we've seen.
So that actually happened in 20. I think it was 2018. It was Pike C. It was Pike C and Siget B, and our kid had no idea what he was doing. Went at the Siget buggy, ended up running into the Siget pusher, and we ended up getting a DQ for it. Based on what happened, like leading up to it, it looked like they had cut us off. So sometimes that works in your favor.
238 last year would have been
All
good
right.
for second place.
I guess, but I don't know. If you're pushing a buggy, shouldn't like. All right, maybe if it were like Havoc versus
Back up
Malice
from
or
the
something,
line. Back up from the line.
where it's just like depending on the lighting, maybe you can't tell. But I don't know. Inviscid and Bane don't look alike.
I think sometimes it's hard on 3 just because you see the buggy head on, and if you're not used to it, it might be tough. But I don't know. I don't know any explanation for it.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's it, but like I don't know. From looking at enough photos now, Inviscid has a very unique head-on profile.
Yeah.
For Spirit, absolutely.
It's very narrow.
Yeah, but here comes the separation.
Well, it's also
But again,
very
I think
flat.
you've seen a lot of buggies and know what buggy looks like. For someone that it's their first race day and don't go to a lot of rolls or don't do a lot of hill threes, I think we forget how little people actually know about what they're doing and get kind of thrown out there. But to happen on day 2 is kind of wild.
That's fair. Sometimes I forget that some organizations have enough people where like their pushers only have to come out a couple of times before racing.
Or it depends on their recruitment. It is a C team, for the record.
But Hill 2's shove off did not look.
Yeah, no, but you still like if you've got 3 buggies and you're coming out to rolls, you need 3 buggies worth of pushers.
Yeah. Although
that's all I'm saying.
I mean that you can fake in a lot of ways.
Well, that's the thing about Visa. Visa being such a good buggy, it's going to pull away on.
And not for race day, of course, but for rolls.
I believe we get Spirit.
Yeah, definitely roll 4 or 5 buggies, especially in the fall. With, let's say like 10 pushers or so.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but it happens.
Right. Like you start doing double hills.
We rolled
and you,
3 with 4 pushers before, and that was the worst
that
roll of my
sounds
life.
awful. Holy shit. I've had
Hey,
the
Willie,
luxury
the
of
real
not having to push back
question-
hills.
Willie, the real question is how many times did other people have to
Never,
pass your buggy?
never happened.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I sincerely doubt that.
Not under mine.
Wait, what was the question?
How many times did other teams have to pick up your buggies that day?
It's been Spirit more than anyone. Spirit has picked. I've seen Spirit pick up Pike Buggy so many times during pre-rolls.
I believe that.
To be fair,
Can I tell you if anybody did that prior to like 2012, there's a legitimate chance they would have been shot.
I believe it 100%.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's funny because Tisha was honestly, she almost counts as a member of Pike this year with the number of times she's held onto your buggies on Hill 2 or like held open your tent while they carried out the buggy. I don't know. Maybe not an unbiased safety chair. Maybe secretly a member of Pike.
This should have come up in the election. I don't know, Dia. Being impartial might have held you back.
To be fair, I held my fair share of Pike buggies this year too.
I feel like everybody got their chance this year, yeah.
Way to go, Michaela. That was a.
What? What the hell? Did I miss this by 5 years? I mean, the genesis of the whole BIA was pikeabuggy.com, which was
Oh no, they
because
would
they
ask
got so
me
furious.
Or Tisha, they would ask members of sweepstakes to help them hold open their tent door while they carried the buggies out.
Yep.
So like
God, that's so
Sweepstakes
crazy.
has seen inside the very broken Pike tent many times.
I really hope no Pike alumni are watching this right now. Just really hope.
Sorry, don't crucify Rob.
Rob Levin's gonna get a really upset email.
He's gonna get some mad emails.
I feel like that wouldn't be new to
fair,
him.
To be
Oh,
fair, we
absolutely
did
not.
have to see inside the spot safety anyway, so it's not like people who hadn't already
Right.
seen inside their
Of all the
tent
people to
would
do
see
it,
that.
she would be the one. Hannah fucking
And to be
Linus.
fair, there were multiple days this year where, Willie, you mentioned 3 buggies with 4 pushers. Rob, I'm pretty sure, ran rolls with 3 buggies with 2 pushers a couple times this year.
Very quick there, but a great job by
Good lord.
CIA to get that separation after Hill 1.
You saw the determination in her eyes. She was
That one does
One of their
baffle me.
pushers would pick up 2 buggies on the back hills.
Pika's female Hill 1 just
And he would run with like one in each hand.
second on that Hill 1.
Walk.
And
Wow, right.
CIA still beat her.
Oh, so yeah.
Naturally.
1 minute stop sign.
This heat, by the way, this is women's finals heat 3 of 4. This is your winning heat, ultimately, with CIA here. I do want to point out, Fish A, they picked the wrong. Also, that was a really early turn for CIA. I'd love to hear that story, but
We've been taking the turn earlier and earlier because we're a lot more
But
stable.
Fish kind of picked the wrong year to do this whole thing. If they had waited one more year, they would have been, I think, the first team to ever trophy in their first year, because this women's team ends up finishing 5th. Unfortunately, in 2016, only the top 8 advanced to finals, which meant the top 4 got trophies.
Right.
That was expanded in 2017.
I think KDR trophied their first year.
And they're doing that in their women's A. They are smoking fast on the front hills. Let's see what their back hills can do.
Didn't expect that, did you?
Now, how good do you think?
No, we did not.
That seems like one that he would have written about.
It's good. It's good that he didn't expect it because I also think it's a lie. But let me check. It is. I do know that the one fact that I'm referencing there is that KDR did have the fastest debut time of any org.
You are in fact correct. They were 6th in 1987. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, their first year with Phoenix.
All right.
That just goes to show that I had no idea the stat that I was giving about Fish was true. I was just going.
Wow. Excellent conversation in the YouTube chat.
Nice.
Love it.
And that's another record time for CIA's women's team, which they've now set every single time they've rolled for the last.
Yeah. We were doing well that year. Those couple years. We were gonna do well this year too.
This finish is tragic.
Yeah.
That's an interesting year in 2016 because both the men's and women's finals, it was SDCA versus SDCB. And, you know, oftentimes, historically, people have thought, oh, that's bad because your mechanics are going to be so busy trying to prep the buggies. SDC seems to like it. And normally it would
Racing
be
against
fun.
yourself is actually really nice.
It's really nice. Fringe had a couple of years where we had Fringe A versus Fringe C, and those were really nice heats to prepare for because we knew exactly what was going to happen.
SDC has a lot more talent.
Unless you're Spirit in an exhibition.
Right.
Unless you're Spirit in an
CIA
exhibition.
though.
Yeah.
Very
So the SDCA pushers here are majority from the women's basketball team. That was Lisa Murphy pushing Hill 2. She is CMU women's basketball's all-time leader in points, rebounds, and blocks. She is
It was about the exact same time.
basically the best women's basketball player, and probably the best basketball player period that CMU's ever had. She gets pushed. The back hills have 2 more basketball players, and I'd love to know if anyone knows anything about the Hill 5 push here. I believe that's Jen Mayberger, who is a basketball player. I'd love to know if she had a lot of practice with Hill 5, because it's very odd.
Pickup by Hill 3.
And I think this was the last year before Olivia Keller took over as their Raceday Hill 5.
I just love seeing the rollouts.
Correct. If that is Jen, she ends up switching to Hill 2 moving forward. I don't know. I can't tell you how much experience she had on 5, but I know after this is with Olivia on the 5 and Jen too.
I've heard a variety of.
I wouldn't know either because she was a freshman this year and no longer doing things with SEC at this point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think they consciously put her on not 5 after this. And I think it was partially her decision too because
I wouldn't want to be in the same position again like that for something like that. That's that's rough.
I mean, I get lightly tapping the buggy, but it's just as she's approaching the finish line, it seems like she can reach it.
So she can. The picture that I got of her crossing the line, it's very clear that she could very easily have reached the buggy. And there have been people talking about how the shadow is over the line, so it's a little harder to see. And if she wasn't used to it, she doesn't necessarily know because all the people have to stand way back for the camera, for the timing. So it's like you're not. You need to have your hand on the bar way sooner if you're judging by the people who are catching. Yeah.
There's a good number of people that end up, catching the push bar around when they cross the line instead of when the nose of the buggy crosses.
Right.
Heat is underway.
Yeah.
As good looking as we are, it would be great to get
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, you can jump to the men's finals if you want. This is we're backwards now.
Oh, we're back.
Although
So,
right.
as an answer to the question in the chat, which is why is it easier to have them back to back? It's I think largely because you don't have to split your mechanics between the truck and like catching and doing drops. You can have either everyone in the truck or everyone out watching the race. Splitting your mechanics is always hard.
Right.
That is a very good point.
Plus, I think you have to do spot safety for the heat before if you're back to back.
It gets in the way of you getting out for your next heat. Absolutely.
This is I guess Sigap had a bad race day. I would say Sophie in particular had a really bad.
Sophie had a really rough race day.
I was surprised she kept driving after this year. Honestly.
Yeah, I forgot to mention one of the fun side effects of this race day and the huge fringe Sigap beef that happened. I remember Armand and Taylor, who went on to be Sigap's chairman and head mechanic, came to, I think it was the chairman's like a week after race day, and basically came up to us and was like, I think Fringe and Sigap got off on the wrong foot. Let's be friends. And basically jump-started a weird Fringe Sigap bromance that goes on to this day. I don't know if you guys have seen the t-shirts. Sigap made t-shirts that said Sigap Racing, the official fan club of Fringe Buggy.
Yes, I saw
Next year, Fringe made t-shirts that said Fringe Buggy, the official fan club of Sigap Racing. And I remember my senior year, we pushed in those shirts.
Yeah.
So just keep your
God, you guys.
lead here. This is the
hitting the grate, but Kane gets some speed. Oh no!
Here it is.
Sigap just blocked the steering and headed right to the curb past the
I
bales.
The only buggy rollover I've seen.
Pretty solidly there.
She gets so close to that tree too.
CIA carrying on, picking up on hill 3.
Does the multi-view on that show anything else?
That happened with Sigap.
I don't think so. Let me take a look at what the
right to the curb, about looking to
views
catch up
were.
some time, hitting the grate.
Yeah, but I'd also like to go back and see.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! Sigap
So maybe a little bit there, but I think that was about as good as you're gonna get on the
Buggy's on his side.
what happened.
The multi-view, the angle from the bottom, from the
Right.
tower as well.
Yeah, you would continue this view.
Oh no!
in.
Oh no! Sigap
Yeah.
just blocked the
Yeah,
steering.
that
So what
was.
do we know about what actually happened there?
Buggy's on his side.
I think the story I heard was that her steering locked up, and then it locked up mid-shoot turn, so she was just stuck.
Yeah, I heard the same story.
That happened with.
Yeah, there was a washer malfunction.
All of their other issues that race day were pretty much due to ceramic bearings, from what I've heard.
Yep.
But that was a steering
Got up
lockup.
in the air because it hit so hard. Flipped on
So last week we asked what was a better pairing, and Sigap and drops was one of the options. But I'm wondering if Sigap and steering failures is almost better than Sigap and drops.
No, I think Sigap and drops is still better. Just over the years, because steering failures was specifically more during 2016. You know, it hasn't been a super continuous issue as much as drops has.
It was a couple of years there. Barracuda had
A couple of years.
2015 also.
216.66.
Yeah, and if everybody could just give them some space down in the
I'm
chute.
trying to see if I have a video of the Hydra crash that looks different than.
Yeah, because you were down there.
Yeah, but I was on the. but I wouldn't have been. The second buggy was
Here's
close.
that Fringe A, Fringe C race I was talking about that was just a dream to prepare for. This was like and then because this one went so well, the next year we tried to get our A and C to be in the same heat again. It was just so easy to prepare for.
Oh, that was a poor transition.
Very poor transition.
A little bit of a miscommunication.
Has there been a lot of cases where teams go in the same heat on day one? So I know it happens on day two a lot, but I can't remember any time seeing it on day one. Or
Not so much, I think.
Yeah, I think usually during heat selection, they consciously try to avoid it if they can.
I think you avoid it if you can, but in day two you have less options, especially if you have more teams going to second day, because then you pretty much have to decide between whether you'd rather go back-to-back heats or two in the same heat. And that's why it happens on day two.
Yeah, day two you're not allowed to decide because it's strict ordering. Like for men's, it's 1 and 6, 2 and 7, etc. But then they usually allow if people in both heats are okay with switching, they'll allow proposed to switch.
That's what I'm referring to. I think we've been able to switch a couple of times when we've had teams going in back-to-back heats. That's one.
So that's what I thought the rule was, but a lot of times, especially in the podcast, I hear Bordick talking about how the old Pika teams used to request to go in heat 4 or 5 on day 2 if they qualified in first place after day 1, so that if they did get a reroll, they got an entire heat to get a reroll. Is that is that allowed in the rules? Is it very specific where it's rigid 1, 6, 2, 7? Does anyone have insight there?
I'd have to check that on the rules. I think Bordick was talking about day 1.
Gotcha.
The theory being if there's bad weather that knocks it down to 1 day where there's re-rolls immediately afterwards.
Okay, got it.
But you might be right. There might be some. I'd have to go back and see back in his day if they had where Pika was in the heats on finals. Because I don't think I think now really the only actual choice is lane. You don't get to choose a heat.
Than their time yesterday.
Yeah, you definitely get to choose lane because there was a couple of years where the potholes were such that lane 3, pretty much everyone preferred lane 3 to lane 2. I remember that year we were absolutely choosing lanes.
Following behind their A team, they feel an energy in the air. Maybe this is their year. Flying up through hill 1.
I think this is a missed dive or a diving push bar where he catches it after the finish.
He's right about that 16-8 time.
This has to be like the most depressing face plant of all time because he was so close to getting it.
That's a great hill 2 push. Both teams pushing off great early, nice shoves going into the free roll, solid times.
About 27 seconds to the crosswalk, so that's good. But
I like that he just like ran onto the grass and then sat down the apex hill 2.
Yeah, I always enjoy watching the hill 2s wipe out after they run the hill.
Oh, it's the best part of the race.
Holding solidly behind and both taking
I was really hoping that Joyce would face plant during our sweepstakes heat last year.
Oh, if their back kills are as good
That would have
as
been
we
hysterical.
think they are, they might be able to pull out.
Shafiq asked, "Didn't Sigep get started with Fringe?" And the answer is yes. Sigep pushed when Sigep first got into Buggy. They pushed for Fringe for 2 or 3 years before finally starting their own.
That might be shoot turn of the day, Mark. What do you
And I
think?
think that's why our alumni were so mad about that DQ. Our alumni were pissed that year because it was worse because Sigap had like sought out the DQ. They were the ones who kind of requested it. Because I think, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but at first I think both teams were supposed to continue to second day, and then Sigap came forward and was like, I think there should be a DQ.
Buggy beat him up the hill just enough for him to get to his top.
Well, I know when Elon and I were in the truck, Elon just turned to me and was like, "That come up no matter what during transmitting." I think Uchan would know best whether Sigep formally complained about it. We already had it on our mind in a lead truck.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Sigep, I think, from my memory, Sigep told us that they formally complained about it and like had brought up the DQ. And our alumni were pissed about that.
Yeah, I think an alumni who I will not name attempted to friend both me and Elon on Facebook afterwards. I think Elon accepted and got an earful.
You
Ooh,
should
yeah.
name them to me,
Oh,
and then I'll go
man.
after
Forgot about that
them.
one.
5 years post.
Yeah, can we go back to that?
Sure.
And also go back to Spirit's 4-5 transition where we get a full somersault. I really do enjoy the somersault transition.
That's about here. And yes, Andrea, Connor was saying that Spirit got shoot turn of the day because they made it through.
Wait, can we go back sooner? Can we go back to Hill 3? Because it turns out that this heat is completely useless.
Here, we'll go back to the shoot turn. Why not?
Yeah,
That's a good somersault, though.
It's a very good somersault.
I mean, look, in a shoot turn of the day, like I could see it.
I could see it. It was very smooth.
Multiple times, and it was clean.
Wow, they rolled up.
It was very clean. Not even good. Yep.
Because when he gets rid of the buggy, he like holds on. He gives it an extra bump, and I don't know why, because he's well past the line there when he shoves it.
Oh, for the transition.
Yeah.
You're saying the transition into 3-4 or the
yeah, 3-4 was a DQ.
Right.
It's not obvious on the video, but one of the line judges or one of the transition judges had a pretty clear video.
Not
I mean, knowing that it was a DQ, I can see. Like, I wouldn't have known just watching it because position violation is the hardest thing to see on CMTV footage.
Yep.
Except for there was one on a hill 1-2 where like the guy was so clearly past the crosswalk. But yeah, like knowing that there was a DQ, like you can see the guy holds onto it for way too long. And like by the time he shoves, he's already past the line.
Yeah. I really wanted to get
a good 2 DQ heat.
Yeah.
Oh, so close.
That finish. But yeah, I really wanted to string some cameras up along the buildings, like from Porter all the way through Tepper along the side there, and run some cameras on cables. I thought that would have been a really cool view. If you had 3 up there, just watch everybody come up. Everybody gets their own camera.
Lots of separation between the buggy and the pusher. Getting a little bit more control now.
But
is there a reason why we don't do that?
We would have to mount to the buildings, and we don't have a good system for it.
This kid's flying on 2.
Like those cameras are not cheap.
27, that's right.
They do that, and to do what I'm talking about, I don't think is a common thing.
Just before it was starting to get away from him, so he got the
like the more common thing you get is like at the football stadiums you have Skycam, that is a camera mounted on 3 or 4 different cables, and then the cables are wound up at high speed and out, make it move around.
About a 52, 53 there, so a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to be able to see the transition line cameras as well, because that's all happening on handheld cameras at each of the transition points, which don't make it to CMU-TV.
I've looked into getting like security cameras and setting those up, but they don't have, or there aren't wireless ones that have the range needed to make that work, as far as I could find, unless we could get them to run on the CMU Wi-Fi, maybe.
Look at how high up
which is possible.
I think that may have even come up in meetings this year, Ben.
I want to say it's come up many years, but yeah. Nat Jeffries, he was a Hill 1 last year, or the last year being 2015. Nat Jeffries.
CIA, some powerful
Yeah.
athletes they've gotten on their squad.
He definitely was one of our earlier, more athletic members.
Strong 18 here. The transition from the 4 to the 5.
They set a record
in recent history
yesterday.
Anyway. But yeah, the security camera thing is the trick is finding ones that, because they're the most economical ones to look into, but most of them aren't like live and have a reasonable frame rate because they're not meant for that.
208.9. What was CIA's
them 2 seconds
team record?
faster than their team record, which they set yesterday.
Say that again?
What was CIA's team record? Time-wise?
Oh, I don't remember.
You know, because this was a 208.9, which seems pretty good for them.
It's very good, yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of our best times. This may have been... Oh, you know what? I think this was the year that one of our alumni had made a bet that... a donation bet that was however much, since CI was claiming that we were going to beat the men's record for this year, he had a big hard on for stealth. So that year, he bet it's like, okay, depending on how many seconds faster
Yeah, he was like
than
15,
the stealth
16
record,
right there.
I will donate, X times that amount. And we beat it by several seconds.
45 at the crosswalk.
And he was like, well, I guess I have to make an $800 donation or something
Very
now.
impressive up and over.
Yeah.
That's exactly
It's
how
probably worth
F1's
talking about why
should happen.
was this the first year that, so I mean, between 2008 or whatever and this year, you guys abandoned frame buggies and then made the wheels something good and commodity. I mean, I think there's probably a handful of different factors there.
Oh, there are a whole
Do you have
bunch
any
of different
insight as to what
factors.
they were that were? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were finally building buggies that were good as monococks. Like, the Ascension being the first one that won design comp for us and got us to day 2 in however many years. Like, that was... We happened to also get a good number of decent pushers for that year to make that happen. And then, but yeah, we had struggles with some wheels for a while, which unfortunately coincided with that time. So it's like the factors of like us getting everything lined up and also having great pushers to go along with it.
The pickup on 3 cost them a second there at least.
Yeah, it wasn't the best pickup. I mean, the Hill 3 person has to kind of, in real time, try and gauge how much speed was scrubbed off the shoot. It's not really an opinion, it's just a fact. It wasn't as good of a shoot turn as the day before, which is why they didn't set another record this day.
Yeah, fair enough.
And this is actually an interesting heat because watching their SDCB team, I want to say 3 out of 5 of their B team moved on to be their A team in like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, the Hill 3 becomes A team. Hill 5 becomes A team as well.
Brandon Foster, to name 2. They're
That's
3
a
and 4,
loaded B
3 and
team.
5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the stealth check.
I have a quick announcement to make.
Oh.
I think. Apparently, the Slice office has some awards giving out today. And
yes, Sweet Treats was nominated for I think it's the Loyal Scott Alumni Engagement Award. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if they've announced that yet.
So the award winners just came out. In the Loyal Scott Alumni Engagement Award category, there were 4 nominees. It was CIA Buggy, it was Sweepstakes, it was SAE, and it was and Carnegie Mellon EMS. And the winner was CIA Buggy.
Really?
So congratulations to those of you in CIA for winning the Loyal Scott Alumni Engagement. And I think congratulations also to Dia and the rest of you guys in Sweepstakes for being nominated for that.
Absolutely.
I'm not even sure what this is, but we got tagged on Instagram, and that's how I'm seeing this.
That sounds very Buggy related, so that's awesome, yeah.
This award recognizes a student organization that successfully communicates and engages its alumni base, as well as fundraisers from both its current students and its alumni. Priority will be given to a group that is partnered with the Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving to advise on strategy and messaging.
Well, Andrea, my surprise is more that it was to a specific Buggy organization and not the one as a whole. But I have a feeling that because the BAA exists and there isn't like a CIA alumni group, although that's arguable, that might have like tipped the balance. And that was my only reason for surprise, was that it was a single team, not the whole thing.
Well, congratulations to CIA.
Yeah.
Personally, I was pulling for Sweepstakes, but that's okay. I'm still just excited that a Buggy team won.
Yeah, it's good to see so many organizations who are affiliated with Buggy in that list of nominees, for sure. Even with EMS being there.
Yeah, in fact, all 4 were, right? SAE, EMS, and SAE just Sigma Alpha Epsilon and not the racing team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have 4 teams who are nominated who are all affiliated with Buggy. That was an all Buggy heat, Andrea says.
That was an all Buggy heat. Absolutely. My chat must be delayed because you guys are getting it sooner than I am. That's weird.
I would tell you the other winners, but it was hard to watch all of these videos. Like, why didn't they just list out the winners? I don't
They
understand.
should have just posted images. I didn't watch them either.
That's annoying.
I was scrolling through. I'm like, well, we just got tagged, and I don't know why. I don't know what this is. And I was trying to figure out, all right, which of these awards could have been us,
Right.
which was just very odd.
Well, we've reached the end of the playlist. Which multi-view ones do we want to go back to? Ed, you mentioned one earlier, right?
Yeah, the Fringe B Sig B one from day one.
Men's or women's?
Good candidate for multi-view.
I assume men's.
That's the
men's.
Oh, we don't have.
Oh
two
yeah,
names.
that's my favorite and least favorite heat of all time.
Do you remember which heat it was? Does anybody remember which heat it was?
I have it. Give me a sec.
Reed, to your point about BA isn't the CIA alumni group, no comment.
How many officers do we have that were CIA? I think the answer is 0.
Right now, there's
currently, yes, currently.
There's a bunch of SDC people in there right
now. Men's heat 4.
Men's heat 4. Thank you. All right.
Okay, so I can tell a little bit of the backstory on this heat. I don't know how much we got earlier.
Go for it. We got new people.
But effectively, we knew, pretty much everyone knew that our front hills and Sig F's front hills were going to be very, very close. Except our push captain, yes, Dave is saying Flame Kincaid. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to Flame Kincaid. Our push captain talked a lot of shit to Sig F about how our front hills were going to beat theirs or whatever. Everyone else in the team was like, no, they're going to be dangerously close. And when it came to heat selection, pretty much everyone was, hey, we should switch this heat up. But Kincaid was like, no, I'm positive our front hills will be over before theirs. And so basically, when the DQ happened, everyone was pissed at our push captain about this. But yeah, so that's effectively the backstory on why this heat even happened. It was one very overconfident push captain.
I just say I'm currently distracted by camera number 1, which is watching the crowd run up to the top of hill to see the jumbotron.
I was watching number 5 because man, those flaggers were into it, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the very few heats where I actually might be able to see myself on that camera 1 because this was the race day that I was stuck in the truck the entire time.
There's always someone.
Oh yeah,
you can see the collisions are on cameras 5 and 6.
Yeah, we can hop back. Oops, a little further. These flaggers,
every time Fringe watches this heat, someone has to hum the Jaws theme song. It's just, it has to happen.
We have those for a few CIA heats too.
Both turning, Fringe taking the inside line.
Yep.
Inside line. They touch, but they're both through cleanly. They touch again. They're grinding.
You can kind of see it.
There
It's
it is.
Camera.
5 is definitely the better camera.
So that's Sophie Halpern for Sig F and Helen Kim for Fringe. Helen Kim was involved in quite a few very similar passes. I want to say she got DQ'd for contact 3 times. Out of 8 times that she's driven on race day, or 8
That's gotta be a
teams
record.
she's driven on race day.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's, it's racing, right?
Yeah, Helen is just a badass. No one can stop her. And Sophie will tell you the same thing. Sophie and Helen have a very healthy mutual respect after this heat.
I have to say, I am, like, I forget who said it before, but whoever said it before, I am very impressed that Sophie kept driving after this year, because if this were my freshman year today, where, like, everything that could have happened to you.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, that is owed pretty much entirely, or very largely, besides to Sophie, of course, who was really ballsy, to Taylor and Armand, who were just, like, super proactive after this happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Taylor and Armand were great, and I think that them being close with Sophie helped a lot.
Yeah, I do remember the first time I had met Taylor and Armand. They came to Sherman's Meeting for the first time. during the voting meeting for next year's sweepstakes, and that was its own little debacle. They each had never been to sweepstakes meetings, and then it was Enosh versus Brian, and it was just a really humorous discussion.
And Ed, that was, I think, the meeting where they came up to me and Hunter Rideout and were like, hey, we're really sorry about what happened on race day. And we were like, no, we're really sorry. And then that was where the bromance really bloomed. It was that meeting. They came up to us and were like, let's be friends.
Ben, can you do men's finals heat 1, which is the Hydra crash?
Yeah. Do you want your video or do you want?
I mean, you can show my video if you want, but I meant the multicam.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
what
so
was it again? Men's finals.
My video from the shoot.
Oops, that's women's.
To set this up, this is my video from the shoot. Assuming
it's
loads.
loading in. Yeah, there it goes.
53 seconds could be a good time. Hopefully, the back hills, being as good as they are going to make up a few seconds here. I'm looking for a 2:10.
So unfortunately, an arm gets in the way at a critical point, but you can see this is my camera angle.
CIA taking a much tighter line.
Oh yeah, right there. It's still a pretty good angle.
Yeah, it's it was kind of scary.
Yeah.
See that one more time?
I have a vivid memory of the follow truck coming up the back hills with Hydra in the bed. Just completely destroyed. The push bar just completely wrecked.
So we missed the transition for the broadcasters. You'll notice it's the WRCT kid there.
Racers coming up on hill 1.
Filling the dead air.
Yes.
All right, we had a missed time, but here we go with Siget B pushing up.
It was.
Two. Elp needs to get a good shove off here. Here we go.
Yeah, and he didn't know anything about the buggies, right?
Pachella?
Kind of a late delivery
there. No,
the random kid.
Oh yeah, the random kid. No, I mean he knew that they were going up hill 1, and that was all he needed to know because they took over.
I think Estes was technically there just in the shoot, but he wasn't obviously watching, so he didn't know when it started.
But here we go.
Yeah.
Here's Hydra coming
that Sig-Up flagger is amazing. I love that man. Is that Taylor? It looks like it could be, but I don't think it is.
It could be. I can't tell. I think it's either him or Morgan. No, Morgan Stanley was pushing this.
Yeah, he pushes.
If I remember correctly.
CIA taking a much tighter line, looking to catch up.
So if you watch camera 5,
yeah,
you can see a different angle from what you see up top.
Yeah.
Buggy's on his side, hit pretty solidly there.
Yeah, she starts to go up, and then the handlebar catches the curb, and she swings back.
And this was the precise moment that the entirety of Fringe stopped being mad at Sophie, because we were like, oh, she's had a rough race day. We were all just worried if she was okay.
That was a good moment to choose.
Before then, it was all animosity. It was bad.
On its left side, and didn't roll or anything, just kind of up in the air and landed.
I mean, I can't believe how. First of all, I mean the flagger obviously, or I guess both flag. You know, I get it. They're flaggers, so they're wearing the flag. I just got that.
Pushing with intensity.
Now, anyone that's on the course, that's
but
driving.
Back when I was buggy chair, we had a buggy tip over once, and it scared the living hell out of me.
Oh yeah.
But this time, like, she slid a fair way into the grass, which I didn't even think would be possible.
The curb is very short after the bales. Like it's that little.
Yeah, but like once you, I mean, we flipped at the at Westinghouse Pond.
Uh-huh.
So admittedly, the curb was higher, but like, I don't know. To me, the buggy doesn't. It's on its side. What's it sliding on? Like it's. I realize
sliding on its side.
And it's grass, so like, it happens.
Well, and if you look at the wheel is very far turned over, so it probably wasn't catching much, the wagon steering. And it was far enough on its side, it was probably just riding on the top of the grass, so it wasn't preventing it from going very far. Like this big.
taking a much tighter line.
Yeah. Yeah, so something is locked up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just figured, all right, when it hits the curb, like it's gonna stop, and it kept going.
Oh yeah. Well, you also noticed that Hydra was much more off the ground with the wheels underneath like that, or the whole steering mechanism underneath. So like her nose is way in the air and was over the curb. So her nose clears the curb, so the rest of her momentum carries her over with the wheels and everything.
Yeah, that was a funky looking buggy with the entire steering below the entire shell.
Well, that if you've seen her lately, the steering is no longer there, or in that location. It's since moved, but yeah. All right. Oh, it's 7 o'clock. We've gone a full 2 hours at this point. Are there any last races we want to watch? Multiview, since we didn't do any of those earlier.
Can I just say, I just realized I didn't put this in the article because I didn't think about it. I think 2016 was the year CMU TV was having a lot of problems. I mean, obviously, after the fact, we have all the footage, but I think on race day, it wasn't streaming properly. So if I remember correctly, I'll have to check. But I think this was the year that I sat down in the chute with my work phone and periscoped the Jumbotron.
I thought
for
that
the
was
entire
earlier. But no, you're right. It was one of the later ones. It was one of the more recent ones. I don't think it was 2016.
I'm going to tell you in a second because I'm going to open it up and find out.
There you go. There you go. So we'll get that. So while he's finding that, we are back next week for 2017. So we're getting to it. We have three left. Yeah, 17, 18, 19, and then we're back to current. So no plans for after 19 at this point. I mean, the current plan, I guess, is just nothing. But if people like these, we could potentially look back at other years since we missed all the ones before 2011 at this point. But I think more of our people who are interested in seeing the races are more of the more recent students. So don't know how much of interest there would be on that.
So it was for the record, it was 2016. I have my video of exhibitions, but clearly I didn't know how to periscope properly because it's vertical video, which is not working. Like I'd have to rotate it on my computer.
Gotcha. Well, we won't have the race day rewatches to help promote anymore, but I have a feeling that won't make a difference.
Wait, say that again?
Oh, for continuing beyond the history of Buggy ones, since we're going to catch up to 2019 in a few weeks, I was posing the question of what do we want to do after that, if anything. Yeah, if we do older race days, since we skipped 2003 through 2010, right? Because we started with 2011.
Correct.
So if we go back to those, we wouldn't have the added bump from the history of Buggy posts.
That's true. But hey, if people want it, like, look, I got no problem sitting around.
We have other ways to promote, yeah.
In the wise words of Dave Singh, if you air it, I watch it.
Right. There are definitely a few people I can expect to come back every year, and yeah, who knows? I mean, we could get back to some years that McHugh was even here, or on air, and at least.
Which years that I was here
as a student?
In what capacity?
That you were actually competing in. Oh my God. In the years. We were just talking about how.
Oh my God! I won't shut up. It's gonna be. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I think the requirement is you're gonna have to bring in some other people from your time, either before or after, for whenever those races go through.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can swing that.
Yeah. Well, we got a few weeks to figure it out, but start getting the word out that we're gonna start going 2003 to 2010. Although I don't know which order. I guess I feel like we should go back to 2003 and work our way back up, but. Or we could go backwards.
I found my Friday Periscope video, and I started vertical, but so VLC is showing it normal, but then I switch to sideways and then it loses it.
Oh no.
I do like Andrea's idea, which is that we have some race day rewatches where we get random people who have no idea what Buggy is to commentate.
Ooh. That's interesting. We would need help finding those people. What kind of people would we get for that?
Yeah, if there's one thing that's impossible to find, it's random humans.
Well,
just get like somebody's parents. They don't have any funny parents. Want to come on here and talk?
Oh, this is the thing that cost my son 2.5 GPA points. Cool. Let's definitely react to this for an hour.
Oh, there goes another 10 grand. Yep.
In my case, that's not a joke. That's exactly what happened. My parents would be furious if I asked them to comment on this.
That sounds like it'd be great, especially with you there with them.
Yeah,
trying to defend yourself.
Oh, A+. Yeah. What was your Buggy's name? Powder? What is that? Like, okay, you know what? This interview is over.
Yeah, we just need to get someone like what's his face, Jonah Ray, the new host of MST3K.
Right. Yeah, because we could get that kind of person.
Yeah, exactly. That's got to be easy, right? Just like call him. Be like, hey.
Riff tracks for Buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's effectively what we did this race day, so you know.
My fun parent story, by the way. My parents came to Parents Weekend my freshman year, and I was flagging the shoot turn. I don't remember if it was my first time flagging down in the chute, but it was my first time flagging. But AEPI was up first, and back in 2004, this was the fall of 2004, we didn't have good communication. So really, the only sign that a buggy was coming was suddenly you saw it. And AEPI was up first, but no one told me that. So like, this buggy starts coming down from the transition flag, and suddenly my parents are looking up and they're like, "What's that?" And I look up and there's camo. I'm like, "Oh, it's my buggy." So I go and quickly hold out the flag. I mean, camo's rolling really slow, so it doesn't matter. But I hold out the flag, and the buggy passes the flag, and my mom starts chasing after it. And eventually, so camo starts to turn into the chute, and then my mom stops, and I'm like, I'm like, "What were you doing?" She's like, "Well, I thought it was loose." And so she was running to catch it because she thought that it was crazy. She didn't realize that there was a person inside. Guess I did not properly inform her of what buggy was.
Yeah. I don't think my parents ever
I'm
made
just
it
saying,
out
I think my parents could do a really good job of commentating. Like, they're very into Buggy to the point where I think they're going to keep coming after I graduate. Just, they want to see some races.
You know what? I've gotten the same vibe from Lena's mom, I want to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, your parents are definitely very into it. They could do a fine job. That'd be fun. But yeah, well, we've got 3 weeks left, so let's come up with these fun ideas and try to we can start executing on them if we want to.
I like Andrea's suggestion of get Farnham to commentate.
Yeah, the dream. Good luck. That seems unlikely.
Ben, you think you're going to be able to pull someone from the board of trustees again?
To commentate? I mean, I could ask Glenn, but
I'm absolutely kidding.
Well, Glenn was actually really into it. He was watching on race day. He was like, "Hey, thanks for including me," which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, he was definitely one of the most bizarre experiences I've had with a trustee. Meeting him at homecoming, just because he was so into all of the like stuff. Since we were at a football game for homecoming, and I happen to know all the Kilty stuff, and he knew the fight song, which nobody knows aside from Kilty people, as far as I know. So yeah, I got to give him all the nitty gritty information and traditions of that. So yeah, he was watching on race day and he was having a good time. Anyway,
we should have opened up virtual race day with the fight song. That would have been good.
That assumes that literally anyone knows the fight song, but I guess we just went over that.
I absolutely know the fight song.
Yeah.
When I watch the football games in the fall, because I'm that guy who watches football streaming on a Saturday morning, and CMU scores and the band starts playing, I am absolutely singing the fight song along.
Fight for the glory of Carnegie.
I think
Is
we have
there
a
actually
request
a
for you to
taco
sing
cheer?
it right now.
I will not comment on that. Willie, that does not deserve a response.
I need to know.
Nothing.
We want to hear the taco cheer.
I was a cheermaster. I cannot
wanna
answer
hear
that
it.
question.
Ugh, unbelievable.
Andrea commented, we offered a nose flute choir to open up virtual race day, but for some reason y'all turned us down. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Andrea. It was a little too late to spring that on the entire committee that, by the way, we're going to have CIA play the nose flute as our opening ceremonies. It was just a little too late to spring that on the entire committee, but I did very much consider.
I mean, everything was too late to spring that on the entire committee, so I wouldn't have been shocked.
Everything was too late to spring on anyone.
But yeah, I can accurately say that was never brought up in a meeting.
Yeah, sorry, Andrea. I never brought it up. It wasn't y'all. It was me.
What were you saying, Brian?
I was gonna say Dave Singh is asking for me to sing the fight song, so hold on a sec.
Well, the fight song itself is pretty short. Like most of the fight song is, at least for how the band plays it, it's just music. But there is a chorus that is the actual singing. Are you trying to pull it up?
I'm trying to. We'll see if this works.
I mean, you know where it is, right? That one.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Why am I only trombones? That's not right.
What?
Like, the start of this video is just like trombones, and trombones, no offense to the people who play trombones, do not have the melody in this song.
Well, I mean,
At least
the start of the song is trombones for the most part.
No,
Can I just say that I appreciate there are 8 people still here watching whatever we're doing?
Yeah, we're now talking about Guilty Band because that's my other CMU guilty pleasure.
Would you say it's a
Yeah, I really enjoyed when there were 13 people watching the live stream and 7 were commentators.
Right.
McHugh, let us feel like we're relevant, please.
I do it every year.
We've let you do it for 18 years. Please give us that.
That's what I'm saying. I was gonna chime in. I know the fight song because I've been part of 3 different graduation ceremonies, so you can. I don't think it's weird to know it.
Wait.
What do you mean the beginning of this song is all trombone? That da 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 da.
It's trombones and trumpets, but.
Yeah, okay, but the so the video that's on YouTube is like 3rd trombone.
Ooh, what video on YouTube?
I don't know what it is. I could not tell it was a fight song until they started actually singing it.
No. There we go. Oh, this one?
I'm truly just here hoping that we get to hear Brian sing the fight song.
Me too.
Oh, it's only trombones because it's just in front of them.
Yeah, but that's all you hear, and that's not the melody there.
Because that's what you hear in that scenario when you're standing right in front of them and you're in an open field.
But if they're gonna show that as the fight song, come on.
I mean, who is this? No, this isn't put up by Guilty Band. This is put up by HDIC, who also does a bunch of pictures for Buggy stuff. And I think I might know who the person is, but they're clearly like either a student or former student. Is this one better? This one's actually by CMU.
2008.
Yeah.
I was there. Oh no, I wasn't at homecoming because I was studying abroad that year.
Fight for the glory of Carnegie. Fight for the glory. Oh shit! It's me. I need a drink.
Fight for the glory of.
Yeah, that guy was like 95. He was awesome.
I'm so mad I missed it this year.
Andrea, all of Gerlach's sweaters are amazing. The Guilties are coming. We'll win today because we're fighting for the glory of Carnegie. They did some weird mixing on this. I think. Are you singing to the? Wait, am I still broadcasting? I am still broadcasting to it. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm singing to. At first, I was singing along to it, but then I realized it was delayed, so that was going to be weird. So
yeah.
I was just singing along to what I'm hearing in my ear.
Well, I'm probably not piping audio through Discord. But yeah.
At the moment, I'm not actually seeing anything on Discord, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, there you go. Whoops. For the record, if anybody doesn't know the alma mater, it's really weird if you haven't sung it before.
I'll be honest. I only ever knew the last line, which was "All hail Carnegie, alma mater, standing firm forevermore."
Yep.
I did not know the rest of the lyrics.
Having helped with commencement and processionals and stuff like that, they've stuck me at the front of the CIT line for the last few years, and so it means that it's very likely that while we're doing the alma mater, we'll be shown on camera, and there's a shot of me and another board member singing along to the alma mater, and he just looks like the most confused person you've ever seen while singing the alma mater and having no idea what's going on. And the only reason that I knew any of it was because we played it in Kilty Band, but I didn't know any of the words.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can only do the tune.
Anyway, I think we've strayed far enough from Buggy stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week for 2017. Any final messages anybody wants to leave?
I think if you guys have ideas for after we finish these last 3 years, if there's things that you have ideas on for like what we should do to keep stuff up, we can obviously go back to do 2003 to 2010. But if there's other things like crazy commentators, whatnot.
I think what we need to do is start putting it out on social media and being like, hey, we've got a few years left. What do we want to do afterwards, if anything?
Yeah. The other question is, how much do we do over the summer versus just preparing for next year?
Sure. Absolutely.
But while we're all still stuck at home, this feels like the right time to do these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Suggestion.
Let me see if I can find that, and we'll close on that.
Yeah, that's good. I like that idea.
All right.
If you haven't checked out the 2016 article, feel free to. And for the few of you still watching, even if you're current students, we are having BAA elections. So if you know of...
When is that starting? Do we have a date set for that yet?
I think the nominations close May 8th, so next week, next Friday. So if you know people who might be interested in being on the board, the BAA board, so Ben is not anymore. I am, and I am up for re-election as treasurer, specifically for vice president and graphic designer. I think that's the position.
Graphics officer, yeah.
Graphics officer, yeah. We need. Those are the two positions that are. Jeremy is term limited, so he's out as VP after this.
Yep.
And Ethan is otherwise occupied, so he won't be able to run again. So we definitely need nominations for those two positions. The other three positions are treasurer, secretary. I'm going to get this wrong. I should look it up. If you go to the cmubuggy.org, you will see what the open positions are. But nominations close next week. So if you know anyone who is an alum who might be interested, there's descriptions of the open positions on the BA website, and the current officers are more than happy to answer any questions that you have. We try to make it not too difficult. But yeah, so if you know anyone, you can nominate yourself. You can also nominate other people, but if you nominate other people, they'll have to accept the nomination. So don't go off and just nominate Farnham for all the positions, because he probably won't.
Optimus Prime will automatically accept all positions. However, he is not eligible, as he's not an alum.
Yes. So yeah, so we've got that, and the Mike posted a town hall follow up from our town hall way back when. Posted an update, some of the stuff about gifts for students. So if you're a class of 2020 student, there's something coming your way. We are working on that and finalizing that now. There's also
Wait, so where is the thing posted? I've searched a bunch of different Instagrams and I forget which one it was posted to. The Farnham stock thing.
I have it. It's in. I think it's in the general in Discord. If you want to find it there.
Okay.
I think I posted the link there.
I do remember you posting something about it.
I remember me posting something too. I said that. I don't know for sure. Yeah, there it is. Oh, the mindfulness room. Yeah, that was not one you would find.
All right.
10, 9,
yeah.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
You're not giving
1.
it.
Ready, set, race!
Penny! That's Meg on her solo wheel.
I mean, what are we thinking King of the Hill there? Like 15?
Certainly good. They're quick on their feet.
Gotta love the slow-mo to the finish line of that. I love the drops at the end. That's just...
Yeah.
That's so great.
10, 9.
Great
All right.
way to end that.
All right, thanks guys. I'm gonna shut down the stream. And I didn't crash. New power supply so far a success. So
Woo!
far.
Although that means I was drinking, which is a bummer, but that's okay.
We'll find other excuses. I think we have that power.
Fair.
That's fair. Thank you, everybody.
Right, we'll see everyone next week.
See you guys next
for
week.
27